of our party, supporters, and Ghanaians from diverse backgrounds. I have prayed diligently about the task ahead, and I believe I owe a duty to God and my country to take our great party back into government, to right the wrongs of the past, and to put an end to the cries of the people under the current dispensation. The 2020 election presents our party, the NDC, with a great opportunity to offer yet again visionary leadership driven by a commitment to create opportunities for all our people, not just a few. Our collective victory in 2020 will end the increasing hardships, expand the base of our economy, create more sustainable jobs, ensure shared prosperity for all, and pursue good governance, including peace, unity, and security. As a servant leader, I have listened with deep respect to the elders of our party, to members of our party, and Ghanaians from all walks of life. And I'm honored to avail myself for truthful, transparent, selfless, unifying, and dedicated service to the National Democratic Congress. And above all, to the good people of Ghana.
We also want to repeat our earlier caution that times are hard. It will be very offensive for Ghanaians to see flamboyant campaigns, even when they are living in penury. And so we are urging our proposed contestants that they should be modest in their campaigns and in their outdoor advertisements. That will be consistent with the values of NDC as a social democratic party.
Yes, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is how we welcome you to today's edition of Global Issues. We welcome you to this edition of Global Issues. We are lucky to have you around, as always. Today is going to be good, fun, and entertaining, as we always say. So stick and stay with us from now till 7 p.m., to 8 p.m. rather, because we have a very interesting and hot issue to discuss on the table. We have a special guest, as always. Anytime he's here, it's always fireworks. Within no time, I'll be introducing him. But before then, we'll be discussing some hot issues today. The first topic that will be on the agenda will be the Otumfo Osei Tutu's call for the Constitution to be reviewed in order for the traditional rulers in Ghana to have a role in governance. Yeah, Otumfo Osei Tutu has made a call that is good for the country if the 1992 Constitution is reviewed for the traditional rulers to have a role in governance. This was made yesterday when the Asante Kingdom made a historic trip to the eastern region, the Achin, to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the death of Nana Okoye-Penin the First. Nana Se Oforiatta rather, the first. Yeah, so in this program, we'll be asking questions. If maybe it was necessary or if it wasn't. Like we saw the flamboyant culture that was displayed, and also the call for the government, the call for the Otumfo. People have been asking questions. Was it necessary or not? So we will also be asking the question, was it necessary? And could it not have been done on weekends? And also, we also delve into what the Otumfo said, that we should make way or change the constitution for the chieftaincy or the traditional rulers to have a role in governance. So we see and maybe analyze it from a different perspective and find out if what he's saying is in the right direction or is just against the Constitution of Ghana. And also, we also analyze and also discuss what an NDC MP has come out to say, that the 1992 Constitution doesn't call anyone a king or there is no kingdom in Ghana. We discussed this issue in this studio some time back. We also make another discussion on it because it seems there is this misunderstanding between who is a chief and who is a king in Ghana. So we find out if the 1992 Constitution made provision for someone to be called a king, and also the provision that the 1992 gave out to chiefs and kings in our country, their respective role they play in the community. So that will be the first thing we'll be discussing. We then move on to the political landscape where President Mahama has said he is coming back. Yes, Ghanaians have been calling him, especially the NDC party have been calling him to come and rescue the country from the economic woes we are suffering under the current administration. So we will analyze the likelihood of Mr. Mahama's return and his impact on the 2020 elections. And if time will permit to, we then move on to the internal election that has been carried out by the NDC. We dealt there last Wednesday, but if time permits, we also touch on it because there are some utterances Mr. Babin made, and now everyone is talking about it. Yeah, on his discriminatory remarks on those with disabilities. So if time permits, we will bring that into consideration. And we also go on to discuss the elected, apparently that we are hearing, that elected has been written by the NDC minority in parliament to the IMF resident in Ghana, that the Akufo-Addo's government agenda to get China to use our bauxite in barter or in exchange for development. So we will be discussing it if it's in the right direction, because the NDC government is saying that it's a loan that the Ghana government is assessing, so which will be against the agreement the Ghana government have with IMF. So they've written to the Ghana government, the IMF resident in Ghana, to stop the Akufo-Addo government from using this facility. So we'll be discussing, as we have our good NDC member here, we'll be asking him his opinion on that. And the MPP chairman is also here, so we'll also be asking him his opinion on that. Is this new facility a loan or is just a barter agreement? So we'll be analyzing it and find out if there was any need for the NDC to even write to the IMF, or is it the agenda to bring the progress of Ghana into a standstill, or they just want to save Ghana from increasing our debt stock? So we'll be analyzing this as part of our discussion. And we then move on to the international stage where President Donald Trump, week in, week out, he comes on our table, and this time around it's against his own Attorney General in the name of Jeff Sessions. Information we are hearing is that there has been a tension between these two. Listeners remember that Donald Trump earlier this year sacked his acting Attorney General when she decided not to, or communicated to all departments not to implement President Donald Trump's immigration law, which she deemed it unlawful and discriminatory. So he brought in Jeff Sessions, and this man too was part of his campaign team, and there's been a new war of words between these two, because Donald Trump feels that this man has betrayed him because he brought him in to fight for his cause and also protect him against the lawsuits and also the potential investigation on him regarding the 2016 Russian interference allegation. But this man, who is Jeff Sessions, said that he will not sit down for any political party to interfere or have any control over his Justice Department as long as he is in charge. So he has recused himself or set himself aside on this matter, whereby Donald Trump is being investigated on the Russian interference in their 2016 elections. So Donald Trump feels betrayed, and he's saying that this man, in the name of Jeff Sessions, doesn't have any control over the Justice Department. So he has come out to say that he's in full control of the Justice Department and he won't succumb to any political pressure. So we'll be finding out if Donald Trump will be sacking him or the two, or how long the two can coexist. So that will be part of it, like of the discussion. And also, the last bit of our discussion, which will, if time permit, we will discuss, will be we'll move straight to Australia, where a new Prime Minister, has come into power in the name of Scott Morrison. And he replaced Mr. Malcolm Turnbull as his own party people ousted him. So he will be the fourth Prime Minister in Australia to be ousted by his own people within the last 10 years. So we'll be finding out if maybe the Australian people or the Australian political regime have their own mind, like they don't follow political trends or whoever you are. If you do something bad, they will take you out of office. And we might then equate that to maybe our country, Ghana or Africa, and see when we also be able to take such a step if our leaders commit something against the law. So if time permits, we will go to Australia and discuss their political terrain. It's the first time we visited them, so it will be interesting to see the opinion of my able panelists here. So, like the program, share it, invite your friends, take a seat, and let's enjoy the show. We are streaming live on Facebook, live on TuneIn, live on our own website, which is www.gobtv.tv, and live on YouTube as well. So wherever you are, you can follow us on any of these channels. And this is how we start the program. So I will now move on and welcome my able panelists, as always. As in my intro, I said we have Nana Otafrija in the house, so anytime he is here, it's always fireworks. So welcome, Nana. Welcome. And welcome, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, my brother.
So how's everything, the two of you? How's everything? I'll start with Nana. How is life going?
No, not really bad. You're busy.
Busy, yeah.
Aside that,
Everything. Okay. That's good. What about you, Mr. Manuel?
Well, by the grace of God, for me to be able to come to the studio today, it means that God has been grateful, and I'm also kind of glad that things are really moving on back home in Ghana.
Oh, okay.
That is very intense of dedication, because the most precious asset of every country is the human resources. So I'm so glad that we now have a president who sees our children as one of our human resources and is doing his best to try to develop and give our children the education that we need to turn things around. So that's what I would say.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. So Nana, and how about you? How is the party going? I heard Mahama is back.
Oh yeah, it's expected.
Back from where? He's going never. He's always been there. Where did he go that you say Mama is back? Mama has always been
As we have been expecting, at long last, the declaration has been made, and people are just shaking
Oh.
all over. People are just petrified, and I don't know how people are having fever and all those things happening. The dog who cannot be hanged now, he is vowing to hang himself. So you can see things are moving on the right direction.
Okay.
We will be doing our both the national the regional elections for regional executives soon, which will be followed by our national delegate congress. Our national delegate congress, which is slated for 21st to 23rd of September. So in terms of organization and everything is on course. And even in Reading here, by October, we are going to inaugurate our branch also here.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Just this October.
Just this October.
Oh,
it should have
okay.
happened in September, but because I'm not here,
No, here, okay.
the whole of September. So.
You said they're coming to inaugurate you, so you're the only person that can.
So everything is on the right direction, and we are on course, as I might say.
Okay.
Everything is going all right, and we are so happy. Now we got enough hope of coming back to power in 2020.
Oh wow!
Every indication.
Wow! We come back to that anyway. We come back to that because I like the confidence with which you say that. So we come back to that. But let's begin with what happened in Achem Ebuakwa yesterday, where the Otumfuo made a call that we should be able to review the 1992 Constitution for the chief or traditional rulers to be given a governance role. Do they not have enough roles they play today? So what does Otumfuo mean when he says that?
Well, I think I will extend my warm greetings to our cherished listeners that you spending time to listen to us at this time. We do appreciate that. And our own general, wherever you are, I know you are listening and watching us as well. We do extend our greetings to you. We hope you get better soon and join us here.
That's true.
And then the numerous NDC members in and around England. I extend my greetings to all of you for the happiness and the courage and then the hope that is flagging at the moment. We are all happy than ever. It's more than we are empowered.
Okay.
I do encourage you to rekindle the spirit, because the victory, as we got one of our anthems, the victory of NDC is coming again. Say hallelujah.
Oh,
So let's keep the fire burning.
That's good.
It won't be long. Coming back to your question, your question that you put on table, I think Otumfuo didn't specify a specific role that should be given to the chiefs. I don't know if there's any specification to that.
He said maybe we should be able to shape up the governance system,
As we speak, to me, I've always preferred the existing system whereby the chiefs are not active in politics, as I might say, but at times you will see some chiefs very active in politics as well. The reason I'm saying this is our traditional system or our culture, the respect that we give to our chiefs more than, if I'm not afraid, the politicians, the president. Let me take Otumfuo for example, because I'm Ashanti, so I can speak more of that. It's not a discriminatory, because I want to talk about something that I know very well. Yeah. If anything is happening in Kumasi, you can bring anybody, bring the UN president. It will not be resolved. But let Otumfuo speak. Everyone will be calm. You see, so these are some of the things that we want to maintain. If they are engaged in active politics, you know the way we do our politics, and the reverence that we give to our chiefs, our traditional rulers, it's hard for somebody to stand up and speak against the chief. Like what we speak to like what we say to the president, even the president, it's hard for anybody. And if you dare, even the citizens, the people within that traditional, within that town or that terrain, will stand up and speak against it, and even you will be summoned at the palace, where you will be slaughtered about 1,000 sheep or whatever, you see. So these are some of the reverence that they have, and I think they should maintain that, to me. If I put that aside, that is why I asked the first question, is there any specific role Otumfuo is asking? Because for now, as we speak, if you go to, if you take the advisors to the president, member council, what do we call them? Members of Council of State. It's full of chiefs, traditional rulers, and it's part of governance. We have Minister for Chieftaincy Affairs, and then we have Regional House of Chiefs, who is, I don't know, I think they work together. The Minister for Chieftaincy Affairs work in conjunction with the National House of Chiefs, which is, so I don't know how many Otumfuo is asking for.
He said that will shape up the decision-making process.
But the decision-making process, the council, members of Council of State, they are the people who advise the president, even appointments and all those. They are the people. Our constitution says that the president can make an appointment in conjunction, in consultation with the members of Council of State. That is the provision of our constitution. And these members of Council of State are full of, more of them are, what do you call it, chiefs or traditional rulers. So I think that is more than enough. More than enough. I don't know if Otumfuo is asking if chiefs can contest for any position or not. Why not? You can relegate your chieftaincy position and contest every election that you want to contest. Because you can't combine the two in any way.
But I think what he was saying got nothing to do with politics. You know, in your initial submission,
yeah, but governance is politics. It's full of politics. You can't separate it. It's inseparable. There's no governance without politics. It's made up of, it's politicians who form government. You see, so you can't separate that. So I think, to me, they should maintain what they have at the moment, and the respect and the reverence that we give to them, they should maintain that. Because if they enter into active politics, if you are campaigning and you say something, people, you say we will come to Babin. You see, imagine if Babin happened to be a chief. Anyone is saying whatever to him because of what he has said. You see. So to me, our chiefs will maintain what they have.
Okay. What about if the Otumfuo meant that instead of giving some roles to maybe DCEs, MCEs, what they perform, can the chiefs do without being political? Those roles actively involved.
No. You can. It's a system of governance. If you are, it's well constituted.
That's what he wants. Maybe a review. I don't know. That's what he said.
I don't think it's because from time immemorial, that is what. Because initially, before we had politics or whatever we might call it, it's these chiefs who were presiding over everything in the town or the district. We have a paramount chief who oversees the district also. They were the people who were even the call system and everything. They were controlling everything. That when there is a case, they are the people who settle it. But now it has got to a stage that it has moved to a different level. In spite of that, they still have that power within them. They settle cases and all those. And if you are not happy, you can refer the matter to the court. You can appeal. You can go to court for that when the chiefs settle it and you are not happy with it. You see. So they have that power has not been taken from them. Okay. The only difference is that now you have a choice. Either you want to go by the traditional way or you go to law court. That is the only difference. But that power has not been taken from them. If you go to Malaysia, almost every Thursday, Mondays, there is a court hearing there. That Otumfuo is presiding. If Otumfuo is not there, he appoints one of his sub-chiefs to preside over, you see. So that power has not been taken from them. But coming to DCs and all those stuff, I don't think we should be giving those positions to our chiefs. It should be separate from chieftaincy affairs, because it's well constituted in our governance that the Local Government Act doesn't make mention of any chief, that we have a district chief executive who will be in charge of that.
But don't you think that's why the king wants that to be reviewed?
That is where my problem is, because even these district chief executives, whatever decision that they make, they always consult the chiefs. They don't override them. They give that respect to them. They are part of decision making in terms of even the district assembly. They consult them every now and then. Like if you have KMA boss, if KMA boss cannot stand up and say that I'm going to maybe renovate Kumasi Market without informing Otumfuo, it has always been happening. So I don't know what more Otumfuo is asking. But to me, as I've always maintained, that what they have should be enough. Because the respect is there. Nothing has been taken from them. Just that it's coexisting with the new system that we have at the moment. So I think that should be enough.
And what's your intake on what happened yesterday? You know, very glamorous cultural display, and my only problem was it necessary? Maybe could have been maybe weekend or something.
No, that one, no one can determine when it should happen. To me, it doesn't make any difference to me. I think it's
because the government officials left their jobs, everything.
Yeah, but if there is a funeral, like let's say maybe if Ochekne has a funeral or Otumfuo. Recently, when Otumfuo mother passed away, it was weekdays, but all the dignitaries went.
I'm saying, is it good for Ghana? Maybe
why not?
It
doesn't make any difference. It doesn't. To me, it doesn't make any difference. One day going for a Durbar like that, we hold a Durbar. It's part of governance. To me, it doesn't make any difference. The cultural display and everything was well organized, and government officials attended, and I don't I don't see any problem with that. We do our politics, campaign, whatever, weekdays. Coming to 2020, you will see that weekdays, President will be attending, what do you call it, campaign sessions and all those. What do you say about that? So I don't have problem with the day and the organization of the program. I think it was well organized, and I really appreciate what happened. I'm happy about what happened. I don't have any problem with that.
That's good. And the last question I have for you is, one of your MPs have come up to say that, I don't know, you can give us your opinion on it anyway. He's come out to say that according to the 1992 Constitution, there was no provision for kings and kingdoms. So people should not act as if they are kings. We are all chiefs in Ghana. What's your intake on that? Like, is it?
It's funny. It's funny. If he say this, it's funny.
But does the Constitution give provision for kingdoms in Ghana?
But what does the Constitution say? Is the Constitution say that nobody can call himself a king in Ghana? Is that what the Constitution is saying?
No, I don't think so.
Exactly. Does the Constitution tell somebody how to call yourself? The titles. Someone can say that I'm a doctor, but the person has not entered medical school or has any PhD. You see, these are some of the things that shouldn't be bothering people, that shouldn't come as a public cry or whatever. Otumfuo is not calling himself king. When Otumfuo travels, people see him as Ghana king. Even a lot of people have asked me in this country that your king has come here or whatever. You see, which I take time to explain to them that Ghana, we don't have a monarchy, but we've got our traditional rulers who are, some are very powerful. You see, so Otumfuo is not calling himself king. Sometimes we say Ashanti Kingdom. From the onset, the pre-colonial era, or during the colonial era, it's only the Ashanti people who stood alone to fight the English. And if you read history very well, it got to a point Ashanti wanted to stand on its own as a nation. So Sir Grant Wesley, or after that war, that system broke, you see. So if we are calling ourselves Ashanti Kingdom, that is the title we are giving. We are not saying that it's a monarch. Ghana, we don't practice monarchical system, but whatever that you want, or either you want it or not, we will call our this thing kingdom, other people like it or not, and that is what we want to address our Otumfuo as Asante. That is how we want to address him. And since the Constitution doesn't forbid that you can't call anybody king, then we will call him king. But it's up to people to accept that he is a king or not. It's their choice. But to us, as I sit here, I will call him king, because he presides over. Even he goes to the extent of Brunahafo, part of Brunahafo region. So
and even Kofodia, I think they
are. You see, so it's not his kingdom or his terrain is not limited to Ashanti. It's quite extensive. So if he called him king, there's nothing wrong with that. Or if he called himself king, there's nothing wrong with that, because he is presiding over a magnified territory that he deserves to be called king.
Okay. Thank you very much, Anna, for your in-depth opinion on this issue. Thank you very much. We come back to you again anyway. Mr. Banya is here, and I think, are you okay, Mr. Banya?
I'm listening to you.
The way you've done this, so
if he is not ready, I can continue.
it seems
looking for over 30 minutes.
it seems Nana's presence is overshadowing you. Why? You always like when Nana is not here, so.
Well, he's talking.
But he has given you the chance to talk. Even if you are giving me an hour, we are giving you time to talk. So why are you complaining?
So I'm quiet.
So why are you complaining about the time he has given me? That you giving me 30
The
minutes.
first question he's asking me is why am I quiet? And I'm saying that because you were talking.
Obviously, I've given all the time to Nana.
That is what you said.
So that is a fact.
But he has not given you your time.
And the first question that he's asking me is why am I quiet?
Anyway, Nana, Mr. Vanier, the Tumfo has made a statement that we should review the 1992 Constitution and give our traditional rulers some roles in the governance. Well, Nana has made it known his opinion. May we know what your intake on that is, please?
Well, not too long ago, I think in 2014 or so, we decided to review our constitution, and the team was put in place to go around and take people's views. And they went throughout the country, and people give various views which part of the constitution should be amended. So I'm assuming that Otumfuo, expressed his view to them, and this committee wrote a report and gave it to the then President John Mahama, and he accepted some portions of it, and others he thought it wasn't necessary. I've not taken my time to look at it really, so probably what Otumfuo is saying is in there, but as we are talking now, our constitution is saying that chiefs should not be actively involved in partisan politics. Okay, so we need to be careful with the roles that we give to chiefs. If there are roles that should be played by partisan politicians, because if you're a chief and you're not supposed to do that. And I think the framers of our constitution, when they talked about the role of the chiefs and how carefully we should do it, what they were looking at is not to discriminate against them, but more of to protect them from the special role that they take. Because now with the partisan politics, people are supposed to be contest and elected for those positions. And our chiefs and queen mothers, they don't contest. It's for them. If you are from a particular family, you become a chief or a queen. It's for you, or selected few that we know them that was one of these people who can do that.
But can't we give them a proactive role within the society, within their own society?
They're already playing that. If you go to the district levels, our constitution is clear. I mean, the Local Government Act is clear about that. That when the president is appointing district chief executives, they should do so in consultation with the chiefs. Okay. When we elect district, when we elect assembly members, we elect 70%, and the 30% is appointed, and a portion of the 30% are representatives from the chiefs. Okay, so the chiefs appoint people to represent them at the district assembly level. So right from the word go at the grassroots level, they are there. We have National House of Chiefs, okay, and we have specific ministry for chieftaincy. Maybe what I will agree with Otumfuo, or what I want Otumfuo to request is maybe we give more role to that ministry, the Ministry of Chieftaincy, so that whatever chiefs want to do in terms of our governance, they can do that through that ministry, because that ministry works in consultation with the National House of Chiefs. So I would rather those kind of institutions are more empowered and play active role in our governance. So that is what I would say about the request.
You think it's misplaced request or
not misplaced? He's a chief.
So maybe he has a point he wants, because what he said was even when you come to Menchia, he practices democracy where week in week out people come and democracy is what practice there. So I think he has something he wants to say, but he can't say it. You see what I mean?
Well, so if he has something to say, he can't say
it. But you know,
how can we say it for him?
The point is, they have special rule and they are doing it. They still own our land. Okay. And when you need the land for nothing, you have to go through them. You know, even the last time, I think about a week ago, the Minister for Science and Technology, when he was talking about the Galamsey thing, he is saying that the new regime that they are bringing for people to go for license to do small-scale mining, it will start from the chiefs and the district assembly. So you go to the chief and the district assembly will get license from them. Then your license will bring it to national level for them to approve it, rather than the current regime where you go to the national level, you get your license and you go and show it to the chiefs and say that I have license to come and mine here. We are reversing it. So already measures are in place for them to be involved in the governance of the country, and they've always been, But I think probably maybe the president should sit down with them and really look at details as to if they are saying that they want to be more involved, what does that mean? But I would advise that they should tread cautiously because of the special role that they play in the society if they get actively involved in governance. Because sometimes people have different interests. So when you make a decision and your decision does not sit well with me, then I will be criticizing it. But we live in a country, in a society where our chiefs are revered so much that they are not supposed to be criticized, And that is why, in terms of active partisan decision making, we don't want them to be at the forefront making those decisions, because if it does not work, they kind of criticize them. But other than that, it's a request, and he's a Ghanaian, and they have right to make any request that they want to make. Yeah. So that's what I would say.
Okay, so then what's your general overview of the event that occurred yesterday? The rich cultural display, everything that occurred, and maybe the historic trip, and also taking into consideration the fact that the Ashantis and the Achems are known or perceived to be on each other's neck. What's your intake on that?
Sometimes we come up with these things to really create confusion and boundaries. The Ashantis and the Achems. How can one in their own wildest imagination that they don't get on? We have so many groupings in Ghana, and from time to time there will be disagreement. If you go into history, yes, historically there was that kind of tension when people were fighting for land and who is powerful and those things. But that's years ago. Nowadays, there's nothing to suggest that the Ashantis and the Achems don't get on. It's politics that people were trying to play mischief and say that if you come to MPP, the Ashantis and the Achems are fighting for supremacy. That was NDC trying to do that.
But do you remember, and I don't mean to interrupt, but do you remember the Otumfuo recently came out to say that he has it on record that some people in government are trying to pitch him against the current chief of Achem. But he came out to say
that is two personalities pitching Otumfuo against Achem. We are talking about two personalities. We are not talking about Ashantis against Achem. And that is, if you look at what Otumfuo was saying. It was political, that people are trying to pitch two personalities. Okay.
And whom did he mention? You mentioned that it's NDC trying to do that, but whom did Otumfuo mention? Did Otumfuo mention NDC?
Otumfuo did not mention.
Yeah, so why are you saying NDC?
No, when you were talking, I was here, and I was even criticized for being too quiet. You know, but what I'm saying is that Otumfuo got that information. Okay, and that is why I'm saying that these are people who are trying to do that for political gain. Okay, political gain, to say that, because even if you look at them people.
So it wasn't the NDC people then?
No, it's NDC people who are trying to do that.
Really?
Yeah.
What are the evidence? What do you? Why do you say that?
No. Otumfuo said someone at the presidency, some people at the presidency.
Yeah.
He said it emphatically.
Yeah.
That are trying to pit him against the.
Yeah, but that one is not in dispute. And I'm saying that, why did Otumfuo get that information from? That is what I'm telling you, that it was NDC who were trying to do that.
Oh,
that is what I'm telling you, because the strategy is that if you look, maybe you don't want to be open and honest about it. If you look at politics in Ghana, if you look at MPP, our stronghold are these two tribes that you are talking about. That is where we get the stock of our vote from. So NDC will want to create confusion between us. When Otumfuo and Atemene are getting on, it will inure to one political party's benefit. So look at what somebody is saying. This NDC man that you are saying that no one can call himself a king or whatever. Where is it coming from? Who is calling himself a king here? Who is deemed as powerful and all those things, and somebody saying that all chiefs are equal and those things. Who is saying that? Is it not NDC person who is saying that?
By whom did Otumfuo himself mention?
Let us do this. When you were talking, I was here and I did not come in. I don't want to go into this, that whether it's this or that.
You have brought it.
that for me, the chieftaincy institution is, long-standing institution that it will help all of us if we allow them to work and work well. Most of the conflicts in Ghana, they've come out as a result of chieftaincy issues, more than political issues. Okay. When people hide behind chiefs, and sometimes you go to one town, and the people are fighting over a chief because somebody is labeling one person as MPP and another person as NDC, and that chieftaincy issue, because it's going to this family or that family, that particular town, people are fighting because of chieftaincy. So always when I'm talking about chieftaincy issues, I want to be very, very careful, saying that no one is a king, no one is a queen. I think Nana talked about that. Our constitution, or even if you go to law, anything that is not specifically stated that it is unlawful means it's lawful. Okay.
You sure?
Yes. For you to say that something is unlawful, it must be in law that you cannot do this. When it says you cannot do this, then they go further to give sanction that if you do this, this will be your punishment. So anything that you cannot see in the law that you cannot do, it means you can do. That is why people can come out with invention like to create iPhone, space, WhatsApp, and all those things. Because there's no law saying that you cannot do WhatsApp. So if you come out with it, people accept it and use it. Okay. So if the law does not say that you are not this or you are not that, that's fine. The Constitution can say that if you are a chief, these are your entitlements, you can do this, that.
But could have said if kingdom. Well, I think it said Asante and the chief. I think that's what it
said Asante and the chief, but I did not refer to him as king or whatever.
And the chief.
That's right. That's for me, I don't want to go into that language and all those things. Okay. If you look at the way our chiefs or our traditional leaders, let me call them like that. If you look at the way it works, basically the people who you lead them, who will give you that reverence. Okay. So if you are Santehene, your powers, more or less, is within the people that whether it's your chiefdom or kingdom or whatever you call it, and how they respect you. You can be a chief within some community, and those community don't give you that power. They believe that, yes, this is you are our chief, but your powers are limited to A, B, C, D. And you can also be a chief in another community, and they will say that actually your powers are unlimited. You can, and so it's up to those people, and they can call you different. I think this issue of kingdom is coming up when we try to use the word English, because sometimes the kind of appellations, the language, the titles that we give to our chiefs, those titles are even far higher than some of the equivalents that we may have in English to give them. What when you say kingdom, what does that mean? So when it's a king. Yes, we know kings and we know what they were doing in those times and the power. This time you may say somebody is not a king, but if you look at what they do, they are similar or sometimes even over and above what others are doing. Now there are still kings around the world, and some don't even wield some powers like some chiefs and criminals going. Like you go to Ghana, some of the chiefs, they sit on stools, others sit on skins, It doesn't mean that because you stay on a stool, you are more powerful or you are more chief than another chief who sits on a skin. They have decided that from our end, if you are our leader, you will not sit on a stool, you will sit on a skin, So for me, these are all, there's cultural heritage and they have their own significance here and there. So I wouldn't want us to spend more time on that.
But before we bring this to a successful, we put this aside, this topic to a side, do you think the occasion was needful? Maybe especially the timing when it was done, everything, and maybe the amount that was spent to bring it out. Do you think it was needed?
I'm not even sure why we have been talking about this. These are chiefs who work as chiefs doing their own thing. They don't do any government or civil service work. They have their time and they decide when to do what. And if you do African tradition, you know that when we are talking about days, we have what they call a Kwasideh, which is a Sunday. We have Agudeh, which is a Wednesday. We have Fofi, which is a Friday. We have all those days that the chiefs and the traditional people do specific things. These days, it doesn't matter whether you are working or not working. So that is them. When they are doing function and they decide to invite civil servants, ministers, and all those things, for me, it is even a good thing because it gives them opportunity to go there and sometimes even tell them government policies, what is happening, or it serves as opportunity for them to tell our leaders what is happening. We've just discussed Otumfo saying that chiefs should be given more roles to be involved in our governance.
That's true.
An alternative way that Otumfo could have met with the president at the castle on a Tuesday, working hours, and do that. So for me, it's all about how we use our time efficiently. So minister going there and the people there, thousands of people who are at the Deva, they are all Ghanaians, and they get opportunity to see their chief and to also see their ministers. And sometimes it even helps our how do you call it, working together. When they see that actually the chiefs and the ministers are working together, and either the district assembly, the DC is greeting the chief, giving them respect or sharing respect, that when you are there, then you say, oh, actually, So I should not sit here and say that, I respect the chief, but I don't respect the regional minister, because you see them mutual respect working together. So, and this is something that we need to build on. And how often does it happen? This one that has happened today, maybe to happen again the next 50 years or 100 years. So for me, I wouldn't say that it was a waste of time, particularly not saying that this is holiday, don't do it. But understand it was even holiday in Ghana because of the Muslims holiday.
It was Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yeah, but for me, I wouldn't even look at that.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Banye, for your input on that. Listeners, you are listening to GOB TV and radio. We are live on Facebook, live on TuneIn, and live on YouTube. We have our special panelists here, and as you always know, it's always fireworks when Mr. Banye and Nanota Prija meet. My regards to Sugar, Lady Sugar, wherever you are, you can call in to let us know your views and opinion on this matter on board. Yeah, you can call us, and my regard to the general as well. So our next topic that we are discussing now is the letter the NDC wrote to the IMF. That's our next topic. The NDC government wrote a letter, the minority rather, wrote a letter to the IMF for them to ensure that this proposed development plan that has been termed a barter agreement between the Chinese and the Ghanaian government is put to a halt. As we have Nana here, I'll ask Nana his intake on that. Is it true that the minority wrote to IMF for a barter agreement to be halted, or was it a loan, in your own opinion, that you want the stock, the debt to loan to be brought to a stop?
Who has a copy of that letter?
Oh, wow.
First of all, I need to see a copy of that letter before I can comment on that. Other than that, I'm not going to comment on that.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm not sure, I haven't seen it, and it will be unpalatable for me to comment on something that I don't know.
Oh, okay. But
I don't have any evidence.
I posted a link to it.
Yeah, but I read it. I was expecting that I will see a copy. Sometimes when there is this publication, they attach a copy of that letter to it. So I see that, I'm not going to give any comment.
Oh, okay, okay. So you are distancing yourself from...
I'm distancing myself from that.
Okay.
So I see a copy. I'm not going to... I'm distancing myself because I don't see it. I don't have any evidence that it has happened. Yeah. So I'm distancing myself.
Okay,
it's not
general, how do you see this? Is it a loan or is it a barter agreement?
That is what I'm saying, that I don't want to comment on that.
No, not about the letter, but the general agreement. I know everybody knows that NPP government has entered into agreement with this Chinese company, what's their name, called Sino-Hydro Chinese facility. Yeah, Sino-Hydro. We all know that.
And what is the content of the agreement?
The content of the agreement is that, from what we are hearing, is that the government or the NPP government has given them the opportunity to come and extract our bauxite in return for development, where they will put up structures, facilities to the tune of about 2 billion in exchange for our diamond. That's what we are hearing.
Diamond or bauxite?
No, rather bauxite and aluminium, yeah. So that's what we are hearing.
So if I might comment on that, the question is, there is no company in Ghana, Ghanaian company, who can enter into such agreement. We are here, and we saw that somebody who has been given a concession to mine bauxite was terminated by this government without any proper reason. I think the matter is still in court or something like that.
Was he going to pay for it or the
pay for
what? Because they are paying it in return for...
What I'm saying is, whatever the situation may be, if somebody is given authority for concession, it's not for free.
Oh, okay.
whatever it is, it's not for free in any way.
You pay for it.
Exactly.
Okay.
I cannot say that I want concession and they give it to me and say go and mine and take the money for yourself. Definitely, the government has a percentage. The indigenous, also the indigenous, that is the district assembly, the traditional rulers also have their own percent, like Obuasi.
We don't need to change this topic.
Obuasi gold mine, yes. You see. So to me, the question is there any company, Ghanaian company, who can enter into the same agreement than bringing a foreigner into this agreement?
And have Ghanaian company got the $2 billion to enter into such agreement?
Why not?
If you have, I think
Ibrahim Mahama has got more than that.
$2 billion, but
has got more than, I'm telling you, has got more than that. Somebody who owns private jets and commercial jets. You are telling me that he can't afford, he can't.
Are you talking about the same person who owns bank that are collapsing 300 million?
You were here last time. You, from your own mouth, said that you don't think Ibrahim Mahama hasn't got that money, but he's doing a business that is what you said here. That's what you said.
That's what I'm asking that question. So are we talking about the same person?
He's the same person that you. It's the same person you said that he has that money.
Even when he owes banks.
Yeah, it's the same person that you said he can pay the bank more.
He has the money.
That is what you said.
He has the money.
Exactly.
So I know he will not give money to government. That is what I'm
saying. There is agreement. So if this, you know, this Chinese government can come and say they are not giving anything to the government.
I don't want this topic to change to Ibrahim Mahama. This topic is NDC going to IMF. If he doesn't have anything, then we move on.
But if there is no evidence, where is the evidence?
Well, if there is no evidence, then leave it there. Don't bring him Mahama because.
So what I'm saying is, to me, I will not agree to that fact, giving that concession or entering into that agreement with a foreign company, while there are indigenous companies who can execute the same contract. That is where my.
So is that the position of the NDC or your?
That is my position.
Okay.
That is my position.
So you don't believe the NDC wrote to?
I'm saying IMF. I don't. Yes, I don't know. I don't have any evidence to suggest that.
Okay, let's assume they did. Will you lambast them or you side with them?
Helping this government. Is this government who say that they are not going to take loans to develop Ghana because.
But is this a loan or that's what we want to know?
Whatever it is, they are saying that we should. What is the term they give to that? That we are not going to foreign people to get money, or what term do they give to that? That we want to live beyond aid or whatever, all those things. I think that's the same people.
But it is beyond living beyond, not living beyond.
Why not? If you are saying that they are entering into barter system. So if you tell me that if you tell me that there is money in Ghana that we can raise to do whatever you want to do, and now you are using our resources as a barter system. My professor will say that it doesn't jive because you are going against your own words that Ghana we have money. Before they came to power, that was their mantra. That it's because of mismanagement. That is why we are going for loans or whatever for AIDS. But Ghana has resources, has money, if it's well managed by. So vote for us. When we come, we are going to manage it so that we won't go for any loan. So if NDC has written that, we are even helping them to fulfill their own promise. We are helping them to fulfill their own promise because that is what they told Ghanaians.
And don't you think it's a way of maybe what they said that's our own resources, we can turn that into money, and that's what we are doing instead of going for loan with interest, payment, everything. So don't you think it's a genuine means?
What I'm saying is, if you say that we are living beyond is. That means you don't want any aid from anywhere, because you have the resources. You have the resources within you. So why are you going to somebody to get money to execute that?
So don't you think it's indirect way of selling it to them? We are selling it to them, no, we are going to beg them. So it's just like
selling to who? Selling to who? That is why I was asking you, do you have detail of that agreement?
Not having personally.
If you don't have it, whatever you will be discussing here will be out of context, because we don't know the details of the agreement. If we have the details of agreement before us, then we can analyze it critically. But if the details are not here, whatever we might be saying here will be speculation.
But we know the summary of it.
What is the summary? Me, I don't know.
That's why I said it's just to allow them come take mine and bauxite, and they will in turn carry out development of projects. To a tune of 2 billion.
So I see the full details of the agreement, because agreement of such nature should have a detailed what do you call it? A detailed words
okay.
to enter into that agreement. If I don't have that before me,
okay,
then it's difficult for me to analyze it.
Okay. Then I think we will do our best to get hold of it. Maybe Mr. Daniel might have a look. So
if he show it to us, not telling us. If he show it to us now.
Okay.
Not telling us.
Thank you very much for letting us know your stake on this. Thank you very much. Mr. Daniel, before I ask you the question, have you got I think last Wednesday you brought it up, and I'm asking, have you got a copy of it?
I don't want us to be wasting our time on these issues. This is not agreement that somebody is hiding it. This is agreement that has gone to Parliament and has been approved. So the question of this thing is not like somebody is hiding it. It went to Parliament, and even on the floor of Parliament, the debate was that this agreement loan or barter. That was it. So it's not like the agreement is not there. No one is disputing whether the agreement is in existence or not. We've entered into agreement with them that you said it the other way around. You got it wrong, that come and mine our bauxite and build schools for us. No, you build the schools first, then you mine to get your money back. Okay, so they are coming to construct roads and all those things to the tune of $2 billion. Then they get their money back in a form.
That's a loan then. If they're doing it before you pay them, is it not a loan? If they do it and we pay you later, is it not a loan?
You pay who later?
You do it now, do it for me now, and we pay you later in the form of my.
So if you give me a car now and I pay you later, it's a loan.
It's a loan.
Yes.
Why not? Why do you have car finance and the rest?
It's not a loan.
Car finance is a loan. If you don't know, it's a loan.
No, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. If you go for
loan.
No, let me tell you something. If you go for car financing, the company that is giving you car will get their money from the financial institution. Then you pay that financial institution. So you can say that is like that. But if you build, you don't give me money. You build a road for me. Okay. And
because you don't have money.
Oh, let me talk. Okay. If you build a road for me, okay, and you mine to take your money back. The traditional way, that's what we are saying, that MPP, we are creative. The traditional loans that we go for, you go for the loan and they tell you that every month or every year pay this, or every month pay that. And we've been struggling to pay when we go for the loan. This time around we are saying that no, we don't want that, because already we are struggling to pay our existing loan. So the arrangement is that do this for us, then you mine it and take your money. So if it would take you 10 years to pay, we wouldn't be going to the taxpayers and take their money to come and service the money. You have to extract the bauxite to pay for yourself. this is the argument that we are having all along. That so this is not a loan that pay this and pay this interest and pay that like a traditional loan that we are using, and that's why we are saying that this is not a loan. This is like barter. Okay. We give you equivalent, and even the bauxite that we give them, they can decide not to sell it, but we will give them equivalent because we know the equivalent. How do you call it? Value. That this is how much we are. That's why we are even saying that the bauxite, we will not sell the raw bauxite. We will kind of refine it here and to add value to it and do it. So this one is not in question. What maybe my brother is finding it difficult to believe that his people are doing is going to the IMF to say that oppose it, don't let it happen.
But he said he hasn't seen a copy of the letter.
That is total. That's what I'm saying. That why did he hear the voice of Otumfuo or other people? But we've discussed it here, okay. But the point is something you hear and you believe that my people doing this. That's what sometimes when you are home and the teachers tell you that your son has done this in school, you want to speak to your son before because you can't believe that the child that you brought up would do such a thing. So yes. It's shocking, okay? It's shocking because these people are so selfish because you know what they are doing. They believe that at the moment, any NDC person going to retro, even John Mahama coming back, which we will discuss, is under the guise that we were doing a lot of infrastructure, okay? But these 2 billion cedis, if you look at the document that the minister sent to Parliament, all the 10 regions are having huge infrastructure development when we get these 2 billion. So they would know that actually if MPP get this money and they do this project, NDC we are doing, we cannot come to power. So now what they've done is that they've gone they've written to the IMF saying that actually this is a loan. And if MPP goes for this loan, we will see this agreement that we entered, we do that we will not borrow beyond 70%. So don't allow them to borrow the money.
Then I think it's the right order. If they know it's a loan, then I think they have the right to do that.
We've gone to Parliament, we've debated it, and they've lost, and that thing has already been approved by Ghana Parliament.
Which MPP is majority anyway.
That's right, yeah. Yeah. That is why the Parliament is there. And MPP did not become majority because we want to become a majority. Ghanaians voted for us. So they are there for a purpose. It's not like MPP, we are strong or anything. At a point in time, they were in majority less than 2 years ago. Okay. And Ghanaians saw that they've given them the mandate, but they were abusing it. That's why they took it from them. They've given it to us. And we are finding creative way to raise funds to do infrastructure development. Because, listen, if you go for a loan, this magnitude of loan, we wanted 3 million from China, did not come,
But Nana raised an important question that couldn't Ibrahim Mahama afford that amount instead of taking it outside? Did we try him to see maybe if he could?
Not only him. I'm not even talking only him.
Maybe today he did not even listen to the outgoing Minister of Aviation that we want Ghanaians to come and even own, because as we are talking now, we don't have national airline. We want Ghanaians who have money to put their money into it and support them, because we believe that it's even a pride that we have Ghana airline or Ghanaian airline. We don't have. And he's saying that we don't have. We've got partners who have come to partner Ghanaians. And what he's saying is that so far, only 3 Ghanaian companies who are more serious to partner with them. So it's not that it's not there. But what is happening is you give 60% of our bauxite to somebody without even quantify. We don't even, and what you're saying is we does not even have the permit. It's got prospecting. Prospecting means go there and do your prospecting to find out if actually we have, how do you call it, the bauxite there. Then if you identify it, you later come for the mining permit for you to go and mine it. You know what they were looking at giving to Ibrahim Mahama is prospecting licenses. It's not for mining purposes. But I know that in Ghana, people go, they get prospecting, and when you're giving them prospecting to come to this area and kind of prospect, find out if there's something there, they took advantage to actually mine, you know. But for me, that is not what they're talking about. When I was listening to, even if you go to Obuasi, those people, if you look at the money that you get from Obuasi gold mines, it's a fraction of what you are going to get from here. People just come in, mine, and they take their thing there. This time around, we are saying that we are not going to do that because we don't know how much is there. People can do and give you an estimate to say that, oh, you have so much there. Over the years, the very people who are coming to mine, they have the knowledge to tell you how much is there. So just imagine that I come to your house, I'm coming to do something. You have no idea how much is in the soil. And I tell that, oh, you have a lot there. It's about, say, 100 bucks. Maybe I know that's about 500 bucks. Then say that, oh, if it's about 100 bucks, then let's, you know, if you do it, have about. But then they say that, okay, I'll give you so much, and I take it and do it. And you are so happy. This time around, we are moving away from that.
And how would we police it? That maybe the 2 million, how would we judge that they're taking exactly $2 billion?
That is what I said. This is no, and
will we be policing it?
We are policing. They have even building a factory here, so that whatever they take from the soil, we are not even exporting it raw. We will extract it here. Okay, so we will add value to it, and we know how much we owe them. You know, we are even saying that they should take 5%. We believe that the 2 billion that they have should only be 5% of what is in there. Okay, it may even be less than that. So we are not saying that take 5%. We are saying that we owe you 2 billion equivalent. So if the 2 billion equivalent happens to be 10%, we will go for it. If it is 1%, we go for it. So this agreement is even far, far better than the traditional arrangement that will be going with other people, you know. And for me, the good thing is that fact that it is not like the reverse. Come and mine it, then do it for us. Then it means anyone can mine it and do it for us. Anyone can mine it, because when you mine it and you have the money, then you give us our portion. Then we can do it ourselves. No, we are saying that we don't have money to build the roads now. So we want you to come and construct the roads for us. Then, because we don't have money to pay you, also extract our resources and use it to pay, you know. So if they construct the roads and they take 10 years to extract the bauxite, we wouldn't have to stop teachers to pay them. We wouldn't say what we say that, oh, when we pay teachers and we pay with service our loan, we have nothing to less. That loan will not be added to the normal traditional loan that we have, that every year we have to service, you know. But it is shocking that they've gone to IMF to stop us. And if my brother, I don't need to show you a letter. They have written this letter. It was signed by a minority leader in Parliament, Haruna. And today, don't expose yourself. Today, he was on 12 FM with Kwajo Konkroma. And he's accepted that they've done that. Okay, if you go to YouTube, you can even listen to it.
Show it to us.
And
bring it out.
Oh, he's even saying that even the IMF has responded, and though he has not read it, it is with how do you call it? This central regional person who was the deputy finance minister. Who?
We pay for.
No, that's not your fault. No, that's the other one. Atuforsen. He's saying that he's even saying that the response from the IMF is with Atuforsen. He's yet to read.
Yeah, you all know it.
Sorry?
Yeah, you are saying that.
What I'm saying is that
I've got something having a Greece versus John Kroma.
That's right. If you
play it, but the the interesting aspects I'm getting from what you are saying is that there is a response that will be coming out soon. Let's wait for that.
The response is already out, but because it's not good, that's why they can't come. Because IMF will throw it away. IMF cannot stop Ghana from doing that because it's not a loan, you know. It's not a loan. So it's shocking, and that is what they wanted to do. And that's why when I came here last Wednesday, I told you that, because when I heard it, I said, look, so does it have to come to this, that you believe that if FPP gets 2 billion to do infrastructure, it will dwarf whatever?
Maybe they think it's a loan, so I think they have every right to let them know that the agreement they have is being breached.
Even if it is a loan, even if it is a loan, what is wrong with that? Even if it is
everything wrong with it.
Are they not? We're not the ones who started with going for loan.
But you said that when you come, you will not go for any loan. That is what you said. That is what you said.
So that's why you want to stop us. Now that your mama is saying that he has unfinished business, when he comes, how does he intend to get money to complete his business?
We have never got this loan.
And you are stopping somebody from going for loan.
But you are the people who said that you are not going for loan. You are criticizing somebody for going for loan.
It is so sad, and for me, Ghanaians will punish them and punish them again. You know, you go to IMF.
You can sit here and say that.
You know, and what is worrying is that this deal was passed in Parliament long ago. Okay, but they sat down and they realized that actually we need to do something and stop this money from coming. So this is not something that has just gone to Parliament. That Nana is claiming that he doesn't know. You know.
Okay, I think let me.
It started from maybe somewhere where he was making the concession.
Okay, let me. I can't hear it properly,
it is not in this speech.
Of this whole discussion. And so Raymond Akwa is here with me. Raymond, in a minute, let's just know about this whole, what do we need to know about this whole Sino-Hydro deal?
So you do remember that government officials somewhere around the beginning of the year went to China. They were talking about
about $2 billion annually. And therefore it's important that we further invest in infrastructure development to accelerate economic growth in order to address unemployment and to spur the private sector to contribute meaningfully to the development of the country. What the minority have sought to do is to expose the grand deception of government, that indeed they are borrowing, and they lacked the rectitude and resolve to declare to the Ghanaian people and Ghanaian taxpayer that indeed there would be additional tax burden of 2 billion. Don't forget, it has consequence on the payment of the interest burden, and it has consequence even on computation of our per capita income.
Okay.
So we're compelled to seek clarity from an independent arbiter, because when we asked, government said no, this is not a loan. Even though, as usual, speaking with a double tongue, if you look at the master facility agreement, the annex that Raymond referred to, Sino-Hydro makes a commitment to loan. Now, if it's not a loan, where from arrangement fee? There's an arrangement fee and there's an interest component of it. The Finance Committee of Parliament met, and in their words, they said this will not add any additional burden to the debt stock of government. That is practically impossible. So I believe that our action is to demonstrate to the Ghanaian people that we are vigilant and we need to keep government in check. And at this moment, there is no institution better placed to do that than the IMF if they shared the facts and clarified the issues. So I think that Ghanaians should just ignore the propaganda of government that NDC minority is sabotaging. To what game?
Right, and that's how it is.
That is what he's saying. He didn't go there to stop it.
We're posting the letter that they wrote.
But it's what he's saying. He wanted to seek clarification.
You cannot stop there. But don't put a response in where you stop there. You maybe have to forward what they wrote in the letter. Because they said, that they are saying that stop it. They are pleading with IMF to stop it. They did not seek any clarification. They've already made up their mind that it is low.
Shed more light on that. In 30 seconds.
2 billion United States dollars will essentially add to Ghana's debt stock and elevate the interest payment regime of government, which will further throw the economy of the country into distress. Now, when we sought answers from government, they treated this as
something that smacks of bad faith. Now, number two, the real objective of the minority is not an innocent asking of questions. I was listening to the Honorable Haruna Idisu very well, and he says that there's a potential for debt distress. They are compelled to write to an independent arbiter to have an understanding of the conflict in the thoughts of government. I was transcribing his words. Let nobody be deceived. This action by the minority has a real motive behind it. They may try to argue that it's an innocent request for information, but it's not. It is indeed an attempt to nudge the IMF to object to the transaction. Because indeed, if you want further and better particulars, let's just assume for the purpose of argument that there's something about this transaction that you are not clear of, even after Parliament had finished this debate and had passed this resolution. Who is structuring the agreement? It's the government of Ghana. So if you want further and better particulars, today, the Constitution gives you the right to write to the, and I know that the minority has written to the Finance Minister requesting information on other things. If you want further and better particulars, you write to the government of Ghana saying that perhaps I want clarification on X or Y or Z. But when you know that you have already negotiated a deal with the IMF, which is going to end this year, and you literally have some caps on it, and you write to the IMF that they should consider this as a loan. Indeed, they describe it, I have a copy of the letter here, they describe it as a misguided transaction and an illegality, and that it is a loan, and literally urge the IMF to consider it as such. You are nudging the IMF to essentially tell Ghana as a nation.
That's your interpretation of the letter.
But that is exactly what they are doing. That's exactly,
in your view.
That is exactly what
in your
they are
view.
doing. Because listen, if indeed you are concerned about the potential for debt distress, do you know that debt to GDP ratio as at December 2016? It had crossed 70%. That was when we were in debt distress. We have brought it down now to about 69%, and we are hoping to go down further. Okay. You are the one, I'm coming, I have a few points to go to. You are the one who now writes to the IMF ostensibly to tell them that they should consider this one as a debt, and therefore do what? Stop the transaction. Now, initially we could have believed that this was a normal exercise of minority functions. But now, with what is beginning to happen, the administration is beginning to form a certain view that what our friends in the minority seek to do is to tie our hands behind us or get the IMF to perhaps say that, well, they won't go ahead with this transaction, or they won't look favorably upon this transaction. As it stands now, this transaction, as we have argued in Parliament, etc., and if you go to the Master Project Support Agreement, it is clear that they will build $2 billion worth of infrastructure for us, and will pay back with $2 billion worth of bauxite proceeds. We have been very clear with that one. If we and he makes reference to things in the document like arrangement fees and interest. It's true there in the document. But again, if you read the document says clearly, and if you go to paragraph 2.1, let me read that for the benefit of your listeners. The financing terms and conditions under which Sino-Hydro will arrange the Sino-Hydro arranged project financing will be subject to the mutual agreement of the parties. What that means is that Sino-Hydro is raising their own funding to prosecute this transaction. But we don't want to sit here in a situation where Sino-Hydro goes and comes back and tells us that they arrange that funding at a rate of 20%. Of course, that will undercut how much roads we are going to get. So we have a transparency clause in this that says that whatever they are doing, we must have an opportunity to see through it. Whatever rates that they are underwriting, we must have an opportunity to see through it, so that in the end, we don't end up being shortchanged. That is the only reason for which you see these elements of their arrangement fee, etc. in this transaction. So indeed, if our friends want information, we have information.
You feel they should have come to you,
and we can still make that information available.
All right,
not this route.
You're still listening to the Super Morning Show on 99.7 FM. It's 27
Did
minutes.
you read the letter?
I'm in the studio with Harry Idrisu, Minority Leader, and Kojo Okonkwo, Information Minister Designate. Let's have a few questions. Mr. Okonkwo.
In the letter, they use language like this is illegality, and this is, and if you are going to seek clarity, that is something that you don't understand. So you want independent person. You don't tell that independent that what this person is doing.
This is what I perceive it. You tell the independent that this is how I perceive it. But what is your
why do you have to go with your own perception?
Why shouldn't I go?
If you want genuine thing, you present.
Why shouldn't I go?
If the two of us,
if we are having a discussion and I tell you that to me, this is my perception. What about yours? What is wrong about that?
Well, if
this is what I think,
that you give me, even if they say
lawyers, that is what lawyers do.
Even if they said, this is what I think, what is your view? That would have been different. They are saying that this is what we think. No, they not even say that.
You are the one interpreting it in your own way. You are even struggling.
Go and listen to the program. They are saying that this is illegal, so stop the government. The letter, you know what they've done? They typed one letter and they sent another letter. So they said this is attachment. Okay. So cleverly, they want people to go and read the attachment that talks about the agreement and everything. But the letter, the main letter that they've addressed to IMF, they are saying that this is illegal, this is borrowing, blah, blah, blah.
How does MPP get a copy? Did IMF send it or they copy them?
Listen, cleverly, they copied the finance minister. Okay. The letter they sent, they copied the finance minister, but they did
so
not.
You didn't go back.
No, they did not. They went. It was open. Listen. When I write a letter to you, and I copy Nana at the bottom, when you get the letter, you will see that I've copied Nana in. But that doesn't mean that I've actually sent a copy to Nana.
Oh, so you didn't have a...
They did not even send a copy to the finance minister. But the point is, you cannot do this with IMF without us getting to know. Because they sent it to IMF representative in Ghana. And don't also think that the NDC, they are united, like people are saying that they do something that will not come out. Didn't I even say this here last Wednesday? Didn't I? I said it here last Wednesday.
And I told you, take your time. We have time to discuss it when NDC man is here. And I actually said,
he was even here today saying that, or his sister said, he didn't even know what the people are doing. They are diabolic. And they want to see, and they are clear. When you listen to that small program to the end, the letter, they are saying that stop them from getting this loan.
So we didn't hear that. So we go back.
You didn't play it.
Yeah.
In there.
When the program ended, without him reading the letter, the program ended.
I did not tell you stop it.
It ended. He did you stop him?
No, the host came in. So
yeah, the host came in and said
to ask further questions, but we don't have time. We will
get to the bottom of this.
I have listened to the program.
But you are not the one coming to tell us what you think.
I will tell you, but
we all have to read it. I was thinking, Kojo Okonkwo was, as soon as he started his conversation, going to read that this is what they wrote.
It was when
to debunk what Haruna was saying.
It was when.
Why should he come at the end?
It was when Haruna was trying to say that certain things that Kojo Okonkwo has said is not in the letter. Then he said, let's read paragraph 9. Let's read paragraph 8. He was saying that they did not use those language like it is illegal. Then when he read it, they did not say illegal, but they said it is illegality.
Yes.
But it means the same. That what they are doing is illegality. It's just a something. No, You can
we have illegal, and then we have illegalities.
Listen, you can construct a sentence and you describe me as a man. It depends whether you are saying that you are using
ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to confirm that I have submitted my letter to the General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, confirming my decision to contest for the position of the flag bearer for the NDC when the party opens nominations later this year. In coming to this firm decision, I have pondered deeply and soberly on the socio-economic and political landscape of our country today, vis-a-vis the clear path we had started to build aimed at positioning Ghana as a true middle-income country by modernizing our dilapidated social and economic infrastructure and gradually inculcating in the Ghanaian a sense of patriotism, self-belief, and commitment to a One Ghana agenda. I've taken into consideration the groundswell of support, the never-ending calls and encouragement from a large section of our party elders, members of our party, supporters, and Ghanaians from diverse backgrounds. I have prayed diligently about the task ahead, and I believe I owe a duty to God and my country to take our great party back into government, to right the wrongs of the past, and to put an end to the cries of the people under the current dispensation.
Yes, that's President Mahama. He said he has prayed diligently to God about the tax ahead. So where's the tax ahead? I'll go over to Nana Otafrija and asking the tax ahead that President Mahama is talking about. He said, Akusi is very prayerful. Yeah, I like the word pray diligently. So Nana, Mahama is coming back. And he said he prayed about it. So, in your opinion, do you think it's good for your party, MDC, for him to come back, or it's a disaster, as some people are saying?
Well, I think, if I might say, because my brother sitting here has always been antagonizing me, like, whom do you support, and whatever. I will say emphatically, as Ecclesiastes said, there is time for everything. And today, I will say emphatically that his pronouncement has been an anticipation. And we are happy that something that we have been anticipated for a long time has really come to pass.
So couldn't you get a clue through the unity work he was doing that definitely is coming back?
If now I can boldly say Mahama is coming back.
Okay.
I didn't want to speculate.
Oh, okay.
All the time that has been my submission. That a time will come that I will talk about this. That is what I've been saying.
Yeah, definitely.
That a time will come that I will talk about this. The time has finally come.
So what makes it so special? Backbend is coming, Spielgebra is there, so many other things. So what makes Mahama so special?
Don't forget that I have always also been saying that by 7th of December, whomever is voted to be NDC flag bearer is equally potential to get its power in 2020. Because it's not only the person who is going to fight the battle, we are all going to join her to fight the battle together.
Do you think that will be possible, looking at the current in battle?
Why is it not possible?
Would there not
is it the first time this is happening? If you go back to history, MPP is the political party who has always have a lot of, not infighting alone, a lot of presidential aspirants.
Oh, okay.
That is why, even recently, who said that a party who everyone in the party has a presidential ambition. How can that party be stronger? And that person was referring to it's MPP person. I've forgotten one lady. I don't know if it's Otiko Jaba or one of them was saying that if you live in a party, everyone in the party has a presidential ambition. How can that party stand? You see. So NDC, we can have 10 whatever. By the time 7 December is ended, 7 December 2018 is ended, we come as a unified party to fight an equal battle. That is how it is. Okay. Now everyone is campaigning.
And don't you think that will leave loopholes within your
system? It has always been happening. Akufo-Addo told President Kufuor, because President Kufuor contested Lawrence and lost and all. And when he was seeking another candidature, another flag bearership, Akufo-Addo told him that if you send Konkonte to market and it doesn't finish, how can you send it to market again?
Okay. Is it on record? I'm saying that.
He told Kufuor, and that is on record. I heard it. He told Kufuor.
Okay.
But Kufuor became president. What are they not saying about themselves? What are they not saying? Akufo-Addo, we add contestants.
Are you talking about
we are making comparison because of the question he is asking me. Obecheviland, all of them were presidential candidates. So what do you mean that if they are presidential candidates?
No, what I mean is the infighting. Look at what
is infighting? That is not nothing new.
The personality attacks, can they patch it up better?
We will come to that.
I think we can together.
We will come to that. What Abambabin is doing is not damaging NDC in any way. Have you seen anybody saying anything against NDC? He is damaging his own ambition, personality. And if he is not careful, even parliamentary, he will never win in his constituency. I sent an analysis to you the other time. How much he got? 2016.
But you put this PNC person to overthrow him. What's his name?
Which PNC person?
Let
me talk. Even his own constituency.
No. This guy who goes to Asampa FM. No. That's another one.
Not briefly. I don't want
let him continue.
You see, what Babin is doing is not damaging NDC in any way. He is destroying himself.
I thought you said after 7 December, whoever becomes a winner equally has a
and that is what I'm saying. That if you start like this, will you become a candidate? No way that Babin can become a candidate.
But if he wins, then
there's no way he can win. So don't even go to that tangent. Don't go there at all.
You know who can win.
Exactly.
So who else can win?
Yogabra can win. John Mahama can win. What do you call what do you call him? Alabi can win. Everyone can win. Except Abambabi because he's not attacking John Mahama. Has John Mahama got any defect?
He's really attacking him.
John Mahama hasn't got any defect. So if you are attacking people,
I think
it has nothing to do with John Mahama. You are actually now Ivor Green Street, all over, all from all corners. Even our founding father, whom people thought he was supporting Abambabe. He's saying that we should drag Abambabe to disciplinary committee. Our founder, President Lawrence, that people said that he was endorsing Abambabe.
No, he supports Visitana.
Endorsing, that's what people were saying, that he was endorsing Abambabe, and even Abambabe himself.
But this discussion is not about Abambabe. It's about
everything. That is what he told me. That is why I'm going that way. You see, so I will come to that. I will come to that.
You have all the time.
I will come to that. You see, so Nana, for what I'm saying is,
having 2 minutes, Nana.
If anytime, what you say, when it comes out, you can't take it back. Now let's him go and apologize. He has already done the damage.
But how he said, is it not true that maybe the chief didn't like?
Complained. Not that they didn't like, they complained.
Is it not true?
They came out.
What did they complain about?
About the Mr. Was it Dana or the?
Did they complain because he's a blind, or because maybe he's not active, or whatever?
No, he said because of a blind, because they said even chiefs, if you are blind, you cannot be chief. So putting somebody that will be working with the chief and putting a blind.
But did they work with him or not?
Because he did not change them. That's why he was saying that you ended up grabbing them with
going to
V8.
the extent of saying that someone is a stamina.
Yeah.
All this, I don't know how to describe it. And what I see about Babin, that is why I'm saying he can never be a presidential candidate. Babin hasn't come out to tell us what he can do when he is giving the nod to become our friend bearer. All that he is doing is to damaging people. Damaging people. Any platform that
you from the MPP.
I don't know. It's up to him.
Let me tell you something, and let me.
Please. When you get to your turn, please.
Okay, I put my hand.
You see, when you are given an opportunity, as somebody who is seeking to be a presidential candidate, look at what do you call this gentleman, Spielgabra. Listen to Alabi. They all talk about what they can do to unite the party, not damaging somebody. You see, and if you are given a platform, you should actually tell what you can do, a convincing message. Because John Mahama is the most popular in NDC as we speak now.
So maybe it's a strategy.
So if you attack John Mahama, you are attacking me here. I'm telling you, if you attack John Mahama, you are attacking me here. Either you like it or not, John Mahama is the most popular person in NDC as we speak now.
Why is it? Because
who is the most notorious?
Experience or
experience everything that you can think of. Everything that you can think of. And look at how he spoke yesterday. Very convincing.
What did he say?
Very, very convincing.
Just listen,
They're convincing.
Maybe you can have your ear.
He said that because of the socio-economic terrain, the way the MPP government is ruling the government, he thinks he can come back and
make things better.
Make things better for them.
And he has realized where he went wrong. He has realized. He is not saying that he was a saint. He did everything perfectly. But now, sitting back, and from the one that he lost, that has been his assertion, that he even mentioned that he is very happy that he went to opposition to know exactly where he was going wrong. Because if you are a president, that is why recently, Akufo-Addo, they sent a paper, a contract for him to sign, but he said that he was misled. That is what he's saying, that if things like that happen to him, that he has realized.
now he's coming
war
back
that
strong.
he went wrong. And when he came here recently, that we met him, the only thing that he said, that was the day that man convinced me that coming back to lead NDC is not his priority. But he wants to make sure, because he accepting the fact, he is taking that responsibility that he led us into that massive defeat. So he want to make the ground so fertile that whoever becomes our presidential candidate will not suffer a lot. That has been his mission. And if you have such a man, whom else will you go for? We are going for John Mahama. People will die. People will collapse. I think from yesterday, people have not been eating up till now. Even my brother, I don't know. If now he has now eaten.
So you're scared of Mahama? Is that what you're trying to say?
The fear that has gripped them, no one can think about. I always tell them, if you think Mahama is the weakest link among us, what is your problem for him becoming our presidential candidate? That you are always give MPP, take all the presidential candidates. It's only Mahama that they will attack. Why?
Maybe because they are.
Let the weakest link come. You keep quiet. For the weakest link to come, then you defeat him easily. What is your problem? If it's the weakest link, you pray to God that you are having the weakest link. But give them opportunity to talk about all our contestants. It's only John Mahama that they will attack. Why? Ask them why.
Okay. So, Mr. Bane, Nana,
so we are. Well, Mahama is coming fully. He's coming fully, and the victory of NDC is coming again. Sing hallelujah.
Amen. Amen. Thou said, Nana. Nana said, NDC is coming, and Mahama is coming to bring them the victory they so desire. So, Mr. Bane, remember we sat here last Wednesday, and I put it to you that probably you're scared of Mahama. That's why you always speak against his coming. And Nana has also added to what I was fearing most. What's your take on that? President Mahama is coming because he said he prayed to God and God has given him the green light.
Well, what I will tell you, is that John Mahama, in one of the electioneering campaign, described Nana Akufo-Addo as somebody who is desperate for power. And the reason he gave for that was that Nana Akufo-Addo has contested for election a couple of times and has lost and still coming back. So he used that description that if you lose elections, it means people don't want you. Why don't you sit down? That you're coming again. That's what John Mahama. So somebody who believes in this. Okay. At that time, people had not even given an Akufo-Addo opportunity to lead. They didn't know what he can do. They just did not give him the opportunity. So Nana Akufo-Addo said, maybe Ghanaians wanted to give my predecessors more time to weigh them. So I will keep giving them opportunity to choose me. And he was coming. But let's look at what is happening now. John Mahama. Okay. If you listen to NDC people, particularly those who support John Mahama, when they are building his CV, they are saying that he's been assembly member, he's been minister, he's been MP, he's been deputy minister, he's been minister, he's been vice president, and has been president. When they were campaigning, particularly 2012, that was what they were saying. And actually on paper, it looks so attractive. But when we gave him the mandate, okay, none of the presidents that we've had in our history has such beautiful CV, such track record like John Mahama.
But when we gave him the power, when we entrusted him with the country, we all saw what happened. He is the only president who was voted out of power. That's never happened in our history. Other people overthrow you. Lima, he was overthrown. Buzia, he was overthrown. JJ, he finished his term of office. Kofo, he finished his term of office. Atames.
Let me come in, please. Please. How many terms do we have in Ghana constitutionally? We have 4 years. Every president, every government have 4 years mandate.
Okay, so you finished. Okay.
He finished his 4 years. Correct him. Let him throw dust into people's eyes.
Okay, we are not
he finished his 4 terms.
Oh, no,
I'm enjoying this.
He finished his 4 terms. If he start again, I will not let the program continue because he is not telling the truth. It doesn't mean anything. We are talking about the Constitution of Ghana.
Let him keep quiet.
We are talking about the Constitution of Ghana. Constitution of Ghana gives everyone 4 years. And if Ghanaian wants you again, they give you another term. That is how the Constitution says. And your Mahama finished his 4 terms. If he starts that, I will not let the program continue. So
rephrase that maybe he was. I'll come here. I will not allow the program. Let me come here. I'm coming here.
Because he is throwing dust
I'm coming here.
eyes.
So Mr.
I will not allow him to continue.
Rephrase is that Mahama was what? Voted out of power.
No, he finished his term.
Okay,
he finished his term. He finished his term. 4-year mandate.
Let me tell you something.
And handed over.
Let me tell you something.
No one.
Let me tell you something. In 2016, when we went for presidential election, John Mahama offered himself to continue. He did not finish himself and said, "I'm not contesting." He wanted Ghana.
But he finished his 4 term.
That's right. We allowed him to finish his 4 term, but we saw that based upon poor performance, we decided not to extend his mandate. Okay, that was NDC mantra. That was NDC. It was how do you call it? Better Ghana agenda. And we said that we did not see any better agenda. So Ghana decided that actually we don't deserve to continue. So Ghanaians decided to terminate his whatever he wanted for. So this comeback thing that is coming for.
If we terminated him, he shouldn't come back.
We've already given verdict on John Mahama. Okay?
You exactly. How many times did Akufo-Addo go?
I'm not even talking about somebody. Yes, I can see that he's very determined. But I'm judging him when his colleague was kind of persistent, coming back after falling down, like you are saying. He said that person is power drunk, he's so ambitious. Go away.
What about
people don't want you.
What about Akufo-Addo?
That was the advice that he was giving to Nana Akufo-Addo. But Nana Akufo-Addo had not been given opportunity. So even when he was losing, it was untested. But John Mahama, he was a vice president and became president. And he stood in the platform, told all Ghanaians that he is the luckiest vice president. He went to work as a vice president, then returned home as a president. So for him, he did not even have 4 years. John Atames, may his soul rest in peace, his unfinished term, he continued it for him. Okay? But Ghanaians saw that upon all this proper, nice CV and all the experience that you were giving opportunity to try and blah, 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 when he was given the mandate, he performed poorly. And that is why he's down in history as he is the only sitting president who has lost. You don't want to hear that, but it's a fact.
It's not a fact.
No presidential candidate has lost over 1 million votes, the margin. People have
wait and see. But
for me, those things are just statistics and history. But coming to the current John Mahama thing.
Maybe he's seen that.
Listen, you know what?
It's not him.
Listen,
it's Ghanaian.
He's somebody that in my language they will say, He doesn't listen to advice. When he even
like
sees the sign,
was not listening to advice.
You know what? NDC nominated him as their sole presidential candidate. They didn't want anyone to compete with him. But this Michael, they said, no, I'll go for a form. Why don't I can do better than him? They described that person as a madman. Okay? And the accountant who gave him the form, they even sacked the accountant from NDC that, where do you give this my person? And said, well, the policy is that if people have 100,000 or so to pay for form. So I took the money and gave him the form. They sacked the accountant who were just following procedures. Then they said, okay, no one competed with him. It's one person. But we still have to go to our Congress and you vote yes or no. Mahama campaigned throughout the country. They made it as if it's proper contest. He taught it's just like what they're doing now. All the ministers, everybody, they all taught the whole country. They put something no. There was nobody's face there. They said no, yes, and yes had John Mahama. That was even before 2016 election. That was around 2014. No got over 70,000. That was NDC people deciding whether they want John Mahama or not. This was not even, that was for him to be their presidential candidate for 2016 election. 70,000 NDC people knew it, that John Mahama cannot lead them anywhere. That is what Abembabwin is saying, that some of us, we saw it coming. That result, it was in Kwasi, 70,000 NDC, that was not Ghanaians voting. NDC saying, do you want him or not? So they did not even give a chance.
But every party has factions.
Exactly. The point is, that was not a faction. This is yes and no. One person competing. And no one was there.
What is the difference?
Okay.
If someone is contesting, the person will get some votes.
That's right.
What is the difference?
So what I'm telling Anna today is that even before then, okay, before 2016 election, 70,000 NDC people did not see John Mahama to be a credible person to lead them. Okay? Now, Atubiga, have you heard him? He said that John Mahama was second round. Presidency, it's not sex that you go and finish one round and you say, I was second round. You should give it to people who can lead and lead better. That is what Atubiga is saying.
They can say whatever they want. Like, what Akufo said about Akufo and people said about Akufo.
Listen.
They can say whatever they want.
For me,
that is a campaign platform.
But I wanted to give him advice, and he said, no. You know, already you are saying that every party there are some factions, and it's true. So what that means is that Abambagwe may not win, but he has some few people who follow him. So if you sit on this studio and you attack him, John Mahama is not attacking him, but if you say that if Babin attacks John Mahama, he's attacking you.
Exactly.
So you give it back. If you are not careful, what you are also saying, other few people who support Babin will say that if you attack Babin, you attack me, and he will also come back. Maybe not at you, but also the one that you support.
What I'm telling you.
And if you do that, let me tell you.
What I'm telling
I'm making notes. You know, I've now written to the guys like that.
I'm telling you what Abambabin said is not about John Mahama. It's not about me, but it's about people who have some defense. That is what I'm trying to tell you.
Let me finish. This advice you should give to John Abambabin in the room. What I can guarantee you is I'm making notes. All the negative things that you will say against John Mahama, I will make notes of that. Those that Abambabin will say against John Mahama, I will make notes. What you say against Busitano. So at the end of the day, one of them will come.
Exactly.
One of those people will come, and we will have enough ammunition. As for John Mahama, we only have we have our notebook there because we prepared for him already because we've been in contest and we know what is done and what it is.
So why are you scared?
And now he's saying that he's learned his mistake. For me, I want him to come out first to tell us the mistakes that he's learned. What are the negatives first? Okay, and he's gotten some good experiences too. But I'm not more I'm not much interested in the positive side because the positive.
So I'm glad you say because
I'm
why you scared the experiences.
No. I'm saying he's got his own positive side. I want to know the negative that when he can, he will not repeat. That is the one that I'm more interested in. That he's saying that he's been there.
One of them is now he's don't
talk for him. I want him to come out and tell us the negatives, and if he does not mention some negative, then we will ask ourselves, oh, so
will you vote for him? If he tell you the negatives, are you going to vote for him?
Am I not a Ghanaian?
No. Are you going to the person I'm asking you? Are you going to vote for him?
You are not listening.
If he tells you, are you going to
have
vote?
some negatives already. I know some negatives. When he comes out and the negative that he's talking about are not the one that I know, then I will say that actually this man does not know his negatives. But if he comes and tells me, no, he's saying that he's learned. I want to know what he's learned because I know that he doesn't lie. I know because people told him, Bible told him that, Mahama, you are naked. Before he became, he was voted out of power. He said, me as a deputy speaker of parliament, majority speaker, I cannot even go to the president. You know, people would stop me from going to him, and he was complaining and said, "Oh, my brother John Mahama is naked," and John was laughing at him that he was not naked. But for me, that is just by the by. It's going to be interesting the way it has started, you know, and they made mistake. I said it here that John Mahama did not need all those unity walk and all those things. He did not need it. Actually, at the moment, he has a better chance of winning LDC primaries. Okay. But the sad thing is that winning internal primary is one thing, and winning the presidential election nationwide is another thing. As you all know, Nana Akufo-Addo was winning our internal presidential thing easily, but he was struggling with the national level. Okay, but Nana Akufo-Addo did not even have the baggage that John Mahama had, because he had not been president. People did not know whether he could do it or not.
But Mahama is coming with his infrastructure.
What infrastructure?
I think that's what most NDCs
that is what Nana said it here. That they believe that if you say infrastructure, people believe it. If you lie, keep lying, people believe it. Because the infrastructure that they are talking about, as we are talking now, where is it? This is a president who stood in their campaign and everywhere saying that I will build 400 schools in 4 years, 200 schools in 4 years. For me, 200 schools in 4 years is even so moderate. If you believe that you want to start free secondary school, and because the way they are talking, because the last time we discussed Ghana education here, the free education system, the Minister of Education is saying that for us to go back to the normal system, we need to build 600 schools. But John Mahama was saying that in 4 years he was going to build 200. And of the 200, he set this small target, not ambitious at all. And when the 4 years was over, he could do less than 50. He couldn't even get 25% of the target that he set for himself. Ghana did not set this target for him. This is the president people are touting that he did a lot of infrastructure. You couldn't build 200 schools in 4 years. And people are saying that. But that is their strategy. Keep saying that I've done a lot, and people buy into it. Everywhere, Nana Akufo-Addo made reference to that everywhere that I go, because when we were campaigning, Nana was running through potholes and dash roads and everywhere. And your mama said, oh, you did not see the road because you were sleeping. But then Nana Akufo-Addo said, how can I sleep on these bad roads? Then when we finished the election that Nana Akufo-Addo has become president, everywhere Nana goes, the chiefs are saying that come and do our roads for us. Meanwhile, the same person, you are describing him as the man who did a lot of roads. Where are the roads? Where are the roads that everywhere that Nana goes, the chiefs are demanding that come and do? You
Where
go
is
to Ghana.
everywhere? Where is everywhere?
The roads
everywhere.
Everywhere you go.
Where is everywhere?
Tell me one time
Where
that
is
you
everywhere?
go. Now if you from here, if you get to Accra today, if you're a Ghanaian and you land at Kotoka Airport, unless your house is at the Kotoka Airport, wherever you are going, you will go to bad road. If you live in Accra, no, if you live in Accra.
So you are almost 2 years into power. What have you done about it so far?
We believe in system. That's why we procured this 2 billion. And if you look at the roads, we are talking about merciful. That's why people want to say that, don't give it to them, don't give it to them. That's what they are doing. Okay? And when we came, listen, you know, do you remember that John Mahama stood somewhere and said that Nana Akufo-Addo should pay the contractors? That's why the economy is not booming, because he's not paying the contractors. What does that tell you? It tells you that he gave out contract to people to do some projects, but did not have funding for that. So we come to power. You are saying that we've not done any project, yet we are owing contractors. So the few contracts that they gave out, they did not even plan properly. So there was no funding availability there. You know, that's why we've come into power and said that yes, government is continuing. We cannot say that we did not give you the contract, so we are not going to pay. But we want to make sure that all those contractors who are running to us saying that they are coming for money, you all did well. And when we did that, did you not see that over 5 billion people, 5 billion money were fake roads that did not exist? People say that, oh, I did massive to one with the people mentioning towns and roads that do not exist. You know, we did audit of 11 billion contractor loans. 5 was fake. Okay. And the 6 we've accepted and paying. And this is the man who is claiming that, oh, I did lots of roads. Proper thinking did not go through. And we've come out, we've been creative, and we've decided that actually, instead of us even going for a loan and struggling to get a loan, we are not going for the loan. You come and do the road. So this road, the Chinese people will come and do the road themselves. Then we pay them. So unlike the traditional way, you go for the loan, you give it to somebody, and the contractor will say that, oh, you've not paid for us. So soon.
Oh, you know, it's 17 parts, so we have one last one. You know, have to go by, you know. So you land for us, please.
So what I'm saying is that it's so good that John Mahama eventually has come out. And you know, sometimes you do these tricks to trick people. They don't know, you know. Because let me tell you something, Nana Akufo-Addo definitely will go second round. We'll go second round during 2020 elections, or yeah, Nana Akufo-Addo is coming. Second round 2. No, I mean he will be contesting again after his first mandate. Oh, he go okay. And he will not just contest; he will contest and win. Okay. I thought he was going to hand over to Bawumia for being a lawyer. Are you no, I'm just Bawumia is still young. After the next 6 years, it will be the term of Bawumia. After he has been a vice president for 8 years. Because John Mahama will say that he's been a vice president for 4 years. No, he did not even stand for 4 years. He was talking about 3 years or 3.5 years. So he is the best place. So next 6 years time, Bawumia can also say that I have been a vice president for 8 years and can say that I'm actually the longest serving vice president, because no vice president has been a vice president. Oh, I think Kalu Mahama did. Yeah. Surviving. Let me put it that way. Surviving. You know, he can also say that. So that one is a thing. And I guess the way this NDC internal election will be bruising. Yeah. Now we are saying that it is only Abambagwe who is talking like that. When people are saying that through the previous administration things were not done right, and people like the former first lady has left the party, and I'll bring them in. They are not attacking, but it carries weight under whose leadership that somebody like Nana Akufo-Addo left and couldn't do anything to bring. Even Anita is also saying that if he becomes organizer, she will bring how do you call it, Nana Akufo-Addo back. And previous leaders have been unconcerned and saying that. But Mahama has taken steps to redress that issue, because yesterday he went to President Rawlings. Since when? You don't wait for the horse to leave. I think we should go and bring that. Go and bring them.
You are talking as if you don't have that in your head.
So you are comparing. So you are comparing.
I'm not comparing.
You are comparing to a focal.
I'm not. Who is she?
No, I don't want to put you into trouble. So
Me into trouble. Who is she?
I will not encourage you to go that.
Is she not a human being like us? Is she superhuman?
We are talking about, you don't know.
But Afoko was a petty child.
You don't know the history of your parents.
You don't know your history.
I think we have to move on to the international scene since the time is past.
We are enjoying the local scene. We didn't have to go to international scene.
Okay, you crack on then. Maybe 5 minutes.
No, the fact that he's comparing Afoko to Nana Kunadu. Afoko was our chairman. I'm not in any way trying to downgrade Afoko. He was one of the pillars. He helped us. But if you're looking at Afoko's contribution in MPP and the Nekunadu Ajiman's contribution in NDC, the formation of NDC, mobilizing the women, the 31st December women, the way this, you cannot just say that. And that is why people now believe that for them to be strong and mobilize people, you cannot take this approach. That's why people are saying that they will bring her. And even the founder,
when he contested,
even the founder,
how much did he get? Did she get? When the person you are giving all this admiration, when she contested, how many percentage did she get?
When somebody is on a platform to read her manifesto, and you unplug the speaker, whatever she's saying, people can hear. I was even surprised that she got 3%. I was surprised.
No, he's talking about the actual presidential elections, isn't it?
Who?
Yeah,
she was not allowed to contest. She was not allowed to contest.
No, I'm talking about
there were words that some NDC people vote for her. So they disqualified her. She was disqualified.
Who disqualified her? Do you think we can disqualify MPP?
Sorry? No, you're talking about another.
No, I'm asking you. Do you think we can disqualify MPP or CPP?
Also, she was the weakest link. That's why you.
It's not the weakest link. You have our constitution. We use the legal means to disqualify her. Why didn't she proceed to court?
What I'm saying is, very soon we will sit in this studio and we will talk about the improvement that we are making in the railway sector. Okay, when Nana Akufo-Addo decided to split the Ministry of Transport, and people were saying that 110 ministers, so many. He wanted to give focus, okay? And you will see that. I will advise you, if you go to, how do you call it, Asempa, today's program, the outgoing minister, forgotten this lady's name, the progress that she's making in the aviation. Very soon, we will have our airline. She didn't want to give the name. I think so. She didn't want to give the name of the airline. Things have advanced to the extent that they already have a name. The other partners, international partners who are coming in. So very soon we will have our own airline, and when we are going, instead of us always paying huge amounts of money to British Airways and KLM, some of us can pay to Ghanaian company, and the fact that we even have our own airline, and the host was asking her, are we going to have an airline that will be like Kenyan airline or another country's airline working? We said no. The airline will be airline. You will have Ghana flag on it, I'm telling you the good things that we are doing. So it's not because they are.
You have 1 minute.
No, what I'm saying is that Nana Akufo-Addo and MPP will be given second year mandate, not because NDC has brought Mahama, but because we are actually doing far better than.
Okay. We wait for 2020 for Ghanaians to decide and weigh the two who have been doing far better. So we wait. Time will tell. As the saying goes, time will tell. Listeners, we've been listening to GOB TV and radio. It's been a boiling night.
If you do the first round very quick, you allow people not to even consider you for a second.
it's been a boiling session today, as we always have it when these two colleagues meet. But the last
once every 6 months, so don't make it sound like we meet regularly. But now that he's here, ask him if he knows when he's
so now back. We are moving straight to the international scene, just briefly to see what's going on. In my intro, I said President Donald Trump is having a huge word of war with his Attorney General in the name of Jeff Sessions. Remember, about earlier on this year, he sacked his acting Attorney General for being insubordinate in the implementation of the immigration bill. But this time around too, he brought in this man, Jeff Sessions, to ensure that he sees to it that he protects him from the current investigation into the Russian interference in the 2016 elections. But this man has said that he's reclusing himself or stepping aside for his deputy to take charge of it. And the name of his deputy is Rod Rosenstein, to take charge. And this is what Donald Trump doesn't like it. And he's saying this man is not in charge. So I'll go over to Mr. Nana Otafrija here for his intake on this. It seems Donald Trump has been fighting and also, more or less on Twitter against this Attorney General. And this general is saying that he's not going to succumb to any political pressure. May we know your intake on this and how this will end up?
I think Mr. Trump, I've always been saying that because of his utterances, he will always have problems with even people who are very closer to him, because all that he doesn't want is to prompt him when there is something going wrong. Because he always has his own mindset of the way he goes about things. He doesn't seek any opinion from anybody. But you form a government and you become a listening government. That will actually enhance your projection and everything. But if you become autocratic, that means you don't need to form a government. You just have to go to White House on your own and rule, because you bring people in and they will bring their input. Wherever the people that you put in place are experts in their respective positions.
But they should work for his interest, isn't it?
They shouldn't work for his interest. They should work for the interest of America, not for Donald Trump. Because if you are going on that tangent, that means you are going to fail the people, you see. And that shouldn't be the case, because people voted for you and you have to work for the people, you see. That is how government is about. But if you want to be autocratic, you don't want to listen to anybody, then you are not forming a government. You are just doing your own thing, and which will not help. And any meaningful people will just drop off. That is what we call the burnout. They will burn out and then leave because they don't want any disgrace. Because the way you are going, it will bring disgrace to all of them. And some people have got some reputation that they don't want it to be tarnished. So they will just break away from you and be free.
So why don't this Attorney General just resign rather than him waiting for him to be fired? Because it seems the two of them are not on the same tangent, you know?
Yeah, but maybe he knows what he is doing. That maybe he wants to put things right. He's trying to put things right, but maybe in the long run you hear that he has just break away. He has just resigned and go on his way. I think he is just beating tired. He will go definitely. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Nana. Thank you for your intake. Mr. Barney, what's your intake on that, please? Donald Trump and his Attorney General, the current and past.
It's interesting, but you know, we've been talking about his leadership at the moment, and it appears that anyone who tries not to agree with him will put you away. You know, some leaders have their own self-thing, and I think if you look at him, he's not the only person in this arena. Because when you were talking about just Ghana situation, you told us the reason why Mahama wants to come to power, saying that he took NDC. But Nana actually said it, that he was convinced and decided to vote for him because when he came here and they met him, he said he took NDC to opposition or out of power. So his main aim is to bring them to power and make things easy for NDC. And I'm sad to hear this from somebody who wants to be a leader of Ghana, but wanting NDC to be in a better position, you know, instead of thinking about Ghanaians. And I think that's similar to what Trump is doing, instead of weighing what people are saying, because somebody was there and saw that actually we are here in a department as Ministry of Justice. This is where people come to seek for justice. So you cannot just be making arbitrary decisions and people just run and follow it. They will have to make sure that actually it does not infringe on people's rights and things like that. So we need to take our time and make sure that whatever we are doing is in conformity with law, things like that. And he wasn't happy and voted him. Probably, I would say that sometimes when people are giving us power, we should hesitate to take it, you know, because I'm not quite sure the reason why the previous one was voted is different from what they are disagreeing now. Because now he is saying that I need to defend my staff because they are doing a good job and I'm with them. I will not be with you because I'm heading this department. So anything negative against them is against me as a leader of that department. Yes, you appointed me, but as soon as I'm sworn in and I'm leading them, I'm part of them and I'm working with them. You know? So I would rather defend them than you. But what is happening? Probably sometimes if you resign, you make his work easy for him. You say that I did not sack him. He resigned. But if you sack him, then say, oh, you sacked two people building your own negative record. So if he wants to go. Politically, he may say that I don't want to go. I want you to sack me. You know, so it's not looking good. You know, it's not looking good, and he should learn how to be diplomatic because these issues they happen everywhere. But it appears every single disagreement in President Trump's administration, he will go on Twitter and do it, and he's tweeting too much. I'm not quite sure why he's doing that, you know. And sometimes you come back and retweet what is already tweeted and saying that, try to make amendments and things like that, you know. So he needs to take things easy. But I would advise the people who are around him that sometimes initially I was thinking that, you know, it's only some continent that people are so power drunk. Because people have been sacked for no apparent reason, you know, because you just don't agree with me. But you know that even when a couple are living in the same house, it's not everything that they agree on.
That's true.
But the moment you disagree with somebody, you sack them. It's something. And others are also happy to accept position when one is sacked. They quickly accept it, you know, and you don't know that it will come to your time to be sacked too.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Banye. Thank you very much. Whilst you are on air, maybe can you just a few seconds to comment on what's going on in Australia? It's the first time you've been to Australia to comment on the internal issue, and the information we are having is that Scott Morrison is a new PM after the current PM or the SPM in the name of Malcolm Turnbull was established out through his own party people or his own MPs. And this is the fourth time within 10 years such a thing has happened. So what's your input on that?
So it's just normal, you know. area that they use prime minister system, just like Ghana Parliament. When we vote people to Parliament, and they decide who becomes the leader and things like they make their own decisions. So when they believe that as a leader, you are not performing properly, they kick you out. But, you know, but sometimes.
And don't think we need such a thing in Ghana, because I think that will put cross and checks and balances.
We already have all those things in place. If you are not performing.
Now I'm talking about the PM, maybe Prime Minister, President. You know, can we have such a thing there? Where
it's already there.
Where the ministers, the Prime Minister can just kick you out without.
That is even not democratic. You leave it to very few people. Nana Akufo-Addo is presidential candidate for MPP and the president now. Any MPP person can decide to contest it in our primaries.
I'm talking about kicking you out, maybe when you're not performing. Maybe we.
Now this is not what has happened here. They have time from time to time to go for the antenna elections, and when you go, then they decide. And if you look at this, it was 40-45, so the contest was that close, you know, but keenly contested for 50-50 almost. But for me, that's what I'm saying, that is here. When you are president, we have a system in place that anybody who is not happy or satisfied with your governance can contest you. And we go primaries to decide whether we want you to be there or not. Or even now, our constitution gives us room that any president who's not performing, we can even impeach you. We don't have to wait for you to get to the end. And that one is given to the parliamentarians to go through the impeachment process. So for me, they're all there. And it's
not on who is not performing, but I think if you done something contrary to probably the oath we swore or what. If you are not performing, I don't think we can impeach you.
That is the decision that we made, that in terms of performance, when we elect somebody as a president, the only thing that you can do is wait for the term of office. Then you change him. And that was why Ghanaians waited for Mahama's tenure to come to office. It was too long. We waited for that 4 years as if it was more than 8 years. And when the time came, people went out and voted against him. And those who didn't want to vote against him, some even said that I don't want you, but I don't want to vote for Akufo-Addo. So they decided to even stay at home. They will not even vote for. And I thought he would learn something from this.
I think I was taking
do you know number of NDC people who did not vote? I think it's in their book. But over a million. They talk about over a million people. You talk about over a million NDC people.
You talk about the Australian one there, so that we maybe your intake on that.
It's nothing new in political settings where they practice this system, that system of government. Even here it happens that, like Isabel said, they can just call for elections to vote and take it out or whatever. So to me, they are practicing their constitutional rights. It's in line with the politics. There's nothing much against it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Hanan. And this is where we end the program for today. We'd like to thank you all for sticking and staying with us throughout this time. We've been streaming live on Facebook, live on our website, which is www.gobtv.tv, live on TuneIn, and live on YouTube as well. So you can go back on these platforms and have a look at it if you missed any of the sessions. So at this time, I would like to give my able and revered panelists the opportunity to say their final word to the listeners, and if there's anything they have to tell them, they are all ears to listen to. So Nana, I'll start with you once again. Have you got anything to tell our cherry listeners before we...
Thank all of you for listening to us. I want to take this opportunity to advise my fellow NDC members as we are going to pose various elections. I
will advise you to exercise very restraint. Whatever you say, whatever you do against others. Remember, we are one family. Just that we need to go for this election to select people to lead us. That doesn't divide us. So let's be careful whatever we are doing at the moment. Whatever it is, it will be over when we come together. So whatever you are saying now, think about it. The future effects of whatever you are saying. And we move forward as one family to wrestle the power that we are all yearning for. So that would be my advice to all of you.
Thank you, Nana. Mr. Barnier, your last word to the listeners and viewers, and probably the MPP supporters before we close the program.
Well, I think just to commend them for being part of the program and listening to us. But for all Ghanaians, I take this opportunity to thank everybody that we are all working together to address the challenges that we have as people trying to improve our situation for the future generation.
So thank you very much.
Oh, and let me say this. As members, Reading Chapter, MPP Chapter members, 2nd September, that is not this weekend, the following weekend, we have our monthly meeting on the 2nd of September at the Western Community Center, and the meeting is starting at 6:30. So I entreat all members and new members to come. And naturally, I want Ghanaians who don't even want to be aligned with any political party come to our meeting and just listen to what we are saying. You may have some ideas to offer us to pass it on to our president to help improve our country. So the meeting is open to the public. You can come and help us think about our dear nation.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. So listeners, this is where we draw the curtain to the close of the program. See you next week, and probably tomorrow the general will be in the studio. We discuss, and also there is a new program which is starting, Legal Hour, which the general will chair. And right after this program, we have a program called Mofrada Achen, which is geared towards our children. So it's just good parenting skills. So listening to us, and you learn something in the upbringing of your children. So we see you next week.
Anasa baby now what immigration issues are. TM what immigration anasa settlement issues. Ewo UK awade any divorce. Eden ana wo bia se lawyer betimi eduwachi na wahwe amount ewo court. Social forces for lawyer bra. When ana wo de na court. Awusia tie GOB radio any TV Saturday enyumre bia 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Nishia lawyer Francis Au BWF solicitors. No bidding come up. Biography so concerns any issues na ede amount free or charge. GOB Radio and TV Legal Hour Saturday in Arabia 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. You don't want to miss this, do you? Join in our program also while for 0118 328 2863 and answer 07946772439. GOB Radio and TV Legal Hour every Saturday 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. with lawyer Francis Alfred BWF Solicitors. BWF Solicitors 214-218 Tottenham High Road, Nosso, London N15 4NP. Seven Sisters train station at top of the wire. Your fourth floor of the Hannah House. We're Friday, Juma Monday to Friday. And upon 9:30 to 6 o'clock. The number is 0208 493 7340. BWF Solicitors, we know the law. We are your voice. Come to us.
GOB TV and I said GOB radio and now so I had a good seminary age. I need your home for one. You should the airport to our bravo. It's me out where midday at a mammy, a fear or Wusura said winning. Na another. My bed of farm, what I will fear her. Hey, mamma parts. Sounds and I'm Sylvia. And that day, wow, him and sending for certain say, Mamma Sylvia, when you make me obey. And need your home. And say, no, by I was my moose myself for my day. No, Mamma, what tied even to the name of many African. No, Mamma, my father. Now, if you have Mamma said, and I'll buy another batch of dear. And yes, say a bit to Hena, I say for my man. I mean, can when you're about that, a veteran or a no process rubber when you also buy. When my bitch was that, will be all fear heavy and say no buy. When the media affairs of car, it's a class had been. And no, then they buy as I did. Now, was a walk now, and then as some tissue, I ever shall I come myself. Hey, a brava, you're more from me. And I say in your mouth, in your our to a new when you make us a life after teenage pregnancy, our fra, what shall be insane, and our buy when you knew baby, I know what fell through, and I say what prefer insane above you. I am not or would we are, and I say insane no chino, I am not one more trouble, let's say. And I'm a one, ever two or more community, Mr. or my brother, and only a summer and then. Jimo before my breast, I am not nothing. I can't and master. No more so win young money, dear, and tears. And then the young child of fire, the number of study that the young man parts down where dear. The fear of all. And then the Musa or Casa and now, and then the Medisa or my. Send me a child me cast me a doctor. May a doctor Neja, because Cassamiana, men to me and you to me one and Panes and became really born and one what yes, may I there, what there, for what, maybe I know she got me to a man joke since I made no one yet, I am yelling. And then my summer, Dica, a sour, Master Medicaya, me be sour and said. Abofra okɔ school no wani ana meka sa ben wo okɔ school na akɔdi mpanyimfo abo akɔhyɛ obi bani nse aya na enu akyi no aya na o mabra abo etise mabra abo de na bi kusu a ya na ye bebre na eyitu employee sen abofra ko na so abofra bi ba na efie tini maame eketimi ahwena ma wawo ekase bi kura na oku school to wawo bia ya na nani pese obesa to school so no no ansa de maame ba so akọda ni mu na obeto ni school so na wako ebi na se ko ebi bi se fie nye na amu kire wo fie a and yes, I would in the name one. And I want to do us have and fear heavy. Or no, so I don't know whom and now I said, I'm much late. So would in the name one. And I'm it's a one that you know. Yan any GBA, I said, and your mother basta, and I won't come on, sanity, and you shall be a door of a buy, and I want to so no. So what you're Kurana, Batman and Mammy to meet Yakalana. I'm not war bar, no so many how. Yes, so that's the one who's so near, that's African or Bosso. What didn't Nama or Puntama? I've run a better than home. Now, one and another baby now, so what I will understand is the one and I'm saying would be a kind. Would be a chief. Also, I play you almost as a Fabansa. That's our woolly. The young suffer from a banner for a moment. Or to choose an among ye. Say, on some of a beam. Emma. Nurse, I am not paying for cassette. Who are one of my routine on fire. And so she and so be and so let me to Mrs. Salmon. Mrs. Salmon, Mrs. Salmon, and no clever, and no clever. And then I did. A banner say, I will do my own mom found home. Don't find was on a baby and one of my journey. The woman had to be a with a new ruler. With a new ruler, upon one baby and baby. Well, then you sure. So what you want, so what you do. Oh, mammy, I'm philosophy, I'm a dear, and I'm a dear. And it's out to one who is I'm with the two. Now, for us, I am if ye are in the army. For my job, my papa, ever GOVTV, and I. yɛn hwɛ deɛ ɛrekɔ so ɛwɔ yɛn abrabɔ mu na etumi aboa yɛn nyinaa. Midin ɛde maame afia owu suwa sɛdeɛ wonim no. Na ɛnɛ deɛ mabadwafo a mewɔ ɛwɔ fie ha ɛyɛ maame part. Saa nso na mewɔ maame Sylvia wɔ ha. Ɛnɛ deɛ wɔhwɛ me sɛ nipa so atim sɛ yɛsɛ maame Sylvia onyamadwuma yi deɛ ɔbɛyɛ n'ani gye ho enti na ɔbaeɛ ana ɔsɛ maame mu so yɛ mesrɛ ɔmmɔden na ma me w'ataade yi bi nso na me so m'ani abere paa mɛma mu nyinaa mɔkɔ aba na efie kɔkɔɔ maame sere na ɔbaeɛ ɔne ma bɛbɔ atwadeɛ ɛnyɛ sɛ yɛbɛduru ha yi na ayɛtie fɔ mamenka no wɔnyɛ ɔba a ɔbɛtete paa yɛbɛtena ha ɔbɛyɛ ne ho sɛ soro abɔfoɔ ne no so ɔbaeɛ ɔne ma betwa so da obi a ɔfie ha bi anim sɛ na ɔbaeɛ wo ne me de afee so paa nti kasa bɛn na wo deɛ ne ɛde de baeɛ kasa bɛn paa na me ho sɛ woaboa wo ho aba na ɛnɛ asɛm titiriw a yɛbɛhwɛ na yɛaka ho asɛm ɛyɛ abrabɔ a yɛ mmɔfra no anaasɛ yɛn nua mo nketewa mo anya ɛwɔ mpewanyi nsen akyi buroni bɛka sɛ life after teenage pregnancy abɔfra a wahyɛ obi nyinsɛn anaa abaayewa a onye nnu baabia na wafa afuro anaasɛ wakɔfa nyinsɛn aba fie ayɛ ana ɔwo wie a anaasɛ nyinsɛn no akyi no ayɛ ana wɔn mo abrabɔ ɛte sɛ ɛnam awoɔ no a ɛbɛto wɔn mo wɔ kwan mu na ɛtumi sɛ wɔn abrabɔ anaa ɛno ne asɛm a ɛnɛ GOBfoɔ ama yɛbrɛ sɛ yɛmɛtena ase na yɛnka ɛho asɛm na wɔn nso so wonya ho nimdeɛ ne ɛnteaseɛ kakra na ɛnɛ deɛ yɛnkyerɛ wɔ kwa yɛde nneɛma bɛhyehyɛ so sɛdeɛ daa yɛyɛ no man part daa ho yɛ deɛ efie bɔkɔɔ ɛnɛ deɛ mehu saa sɛ wɔkasa ne yɛ kyerɛ ɛnaa na ɛnɛ deɛ megye sɛ wɔn yɛ sɛ meakyerɛ kwa mekasa meyɛ dɔkta meyɛ dɔkta na agya ebi ka nsikasɛm yi ara na mɛntimi anwie nti mewowɔ ne mpa ne sɛ mekeka nnwere bibɔ mu na ɛno ano wate asi meyɛ ade wode ɔho mfaw a mewie a no wahyia me nti ɔmɛngye wo kɛsɛ nti sɛ mede no mboɔ nyɛ de ayɛ mu yie ne nti ɛnɛ masɛm a medi kan ɛbisa wɔ masɛm ɛdi kan a mebisa wɔ ne sɛ abɔfra a ɔkɔ sukuu no wanyɛ anaa meka sɛ abɛnwo ɔkɔ sukuu na ɔkɔdi mpanyinfoɔ agorɔ ɔkɔhyɛ obi bɛni nsɛ ayɛ ana ɛnu akyi no ayɛ ana wɔn abrabɔ ɛte sɛ
abrabɔ deɛ maame musu a ana yɛ bebree na ɛyɛ tu mpanyinfoɔ nsɛn abɔfra bi wɔ ne so ɔkɔfa bi ba a yɛ ana efie yɛ ne maame ɛbɛtumi ahwɛ n'ama wawo mekasa ebi kura na ɔkɔ sukuu to wawo wie a yɛana n'ani bere sɛ ɔbɛsan atoa sukuu so ɛno ɔno ara sɛ ne maame bɛsɔ akwadaa no mu na wɔbɛtoa ne sukuu so na wakɔ awie na sɛ kɔyɛ biribi sɛ fie nyɛ na ahokyerɛ wɔ fie a ɛneɛ sɛ wode ne nam mu a
ɛno nso so ahokyerɛ wɔ sɛ aba me fie ha bio ɔno nso wɔde ne ho nana wɔ asase
ahokyerɛ sɛ wode ne nam mu a nenam basabasabasabasabasabasabasa na wapapapapo nti awoɔ n'akyi no yɛana anigye biara ne hɔnom na sɛ nneɛma basabasa nkɔ yie saa na teɛ bi nso a baabi wɔkɔfa baeɛ no na ɛwɔ no nso so no ɛhɔ nyɛ sɛ ɛhɔ yɛ koraa no a bɛrima no maame tumi te akwadaa no ɛma wowɔ baa no nso wo ho nhaw nanso kɔba sɛ wɔno nso so ne a ne sɛ akwadaa no wɔbɔ wo so wɔde ne nam akɔpem tama akwadaa no bɛte ne ho na wɔnena no baabi na nso so wafa wɛ ɛfa ne saa yɛ sɛ wɔnenam saa na obi aka anyaa na wɔdi akyiri obi wɔ nso akwadaa bi wɔ hɔnom nso asɛ kɔba ne saa a ne sɛ wɔwo wie a onyansa foforɔ ɛba n'akwan mu ma ɔtutu n'anamɔ esisi dɛ yie sɛ yɛ a ɔnsan kɔfɛ bio ɛma
nɛɛsɛ ayɛ mpanyinfoɔ ka sɛ obi wɔ hɔnom a wotu no fo a ɔmfa and so question and so be and so Mrs. Salmon,
Mrs. Salmon, and no prep, and no prep, and dear. A banner say, I will do my own family. Don't find a boss on the baby and one machine. No one happened to be a beer with me, Rula. With me, Rula, upon one baby. Well, so what you are, so what it is. Oh, mammy, and philosophy are the dear and I'm a dear. And it's out to one who is I'm a bit. Now, for us, I am if we are in a young baby. And a baby, I may yes talk to a baby, I may have a store. Maybe I am about more better to encounters. When you say now, I remember so very and I means for buy.
Nanda, what do you have to tell me? I'm a when it's here for my men come in the baby. I don't want to have two since they say my dear to me, be a man of a camp. Mammy, when you need a man.
Let's hear. The mammy is so any more, man, is so any more. Oh, what Bema, come on, who is any Abayan was it here and the banner? As a new one, so let me hear the sea man. Or we are more sample in the school. When we I must say, when you do my warrior, say, we encounters. Yeah, I love you. When they can rubber for more than a year, I am fat of more to a money idea. It is sad. It's my new swear. If I have been young, if I have been so and I am what?
Your mom party dance, Mom Sylvia, boss. Mecana say, women in some party. I said, what you have been good and so still now. You swear or grandma. I don't know who has a vampire. Sabaya because we know so for funnies and a befia. And I said, a bema or costume officer will be very missing. I don't know, say a gentleman at the house of one for walk, my phone, and I won't want to ye. And I just said, a simple breed, I hear a monsoon, a half of our diet. Na me bisa say ade e was say maame fon kwa na hwa mo fa no go fia ya me das na manu ye mo ase bisa ne say ye maame fon kwa na wo so mo le mo fra so go fia but ne ma ne ba say e de so bo ne bo maame fon say o mo na empempi no o mo ne mo fra no e wo fia ki se be ma no so wa no pa o de ni tishu me bia no ko di pa na jo and over few of us saw a bread, or baby, they do a pray, so grown baby a chaplain, or some to power that. Who a banner only about Fana 350 or Pana, who was a race and more family and son, or me united, or me in a jolly, no me in our actor. I'm want to clean. It is a bandy son, I said, and near my way, being in our Bama name himself, who about who feel, and I'm more family was said yet, so better almost so. Na se ekoteche mana abofra bi a wonni nu efia e wose wo fa yefunu okofa yefunu ba wa abra woni ne papa ne maame ne tie na wo sanso de yin sani be fie se papa ne nkobre ensan fa mmele na woni ne ba ne ni a esa na wo maame no papa akoye pini a sebe uti fie a wan hwe wo maso ye esa papa no our right bi a se wo de so bo no ebo enu ti ne ya na na papa no e de so bo no ebo ye maame Mammy Sylvia, the okay, my young shem free sound. Say a shed for farmers, so I can say, a man on nene and Grobia car. Even Pragana, hey, and nay, a man of Perduma. Sounds so not a number to the Perduma. You were feeling more crana, a man of Perduma, Tom so far time, a man who do on my mom could say, a good mountain. Ya ma mo no omukum so wo akonto mu ebi nso ye adwuma se de be ma nso de ye adwuma na wo hwese ye nyina ye soro ye jama fra iwo nya fra adwuma e ba no ma o ma nso akosu akoye de ombe ya aba abedidi aba na bibi se aba na de ehu so bo e be bo ye nyina wo se nya na ye bre hwo me na ye na ade hu so bo e be bo ni nyina ni se e ma ye titia ye bi nyini no ya na ye bi
ya maame na tete ye ya maame ni so tete ye ye so tete bi na tete ye no no so ye adwuma na so tumi tete ye ma ye so ya nyini abeware awowo na ware no ya ware wo no anasa wo na ya de se ye wo no ye wo se ye betumi ahwe ye ma so ye wo se ye beja ye ma abo me ma so ya maame na tete ye no o ye adwuma so tumi hwe ye ono ni suban na ode ene ye tena ye no ena ye hwe so enti wo ko ye oba ne de ko ye obefa so ahwe wo fie ahwe wo adwuma esem so aka ho de ya na ehia me ma no yo nya ne se wa fe fie yie awe ne maso yie wadwuma sem be be so yie o mre so yie enka ne nti no eya na won ta mfa ho nti wo dia ma no ne ne ga na ye ansem so kra ya be bia no ye hu ne se ne ya me si yie adwuma no enye sa na oba oba ye adwuma nti oba oba be pre wo ho eja wo fie oba oba be pre wo ho eja wo fie aye adwuma de adwuma wo ye akata wo fie nyuma nyina so na sebe onye oba because we was so woman wa koyo ba na wo mma no wo che woman no mielu ebi ye djuma ebi ye fie no wo man so de sano ene hu so wo ye nka na wo de wada agini na ma djuma na wo fie no wo man so wan na reso no wa bla wo nim se be ma ne kwa wonya ma ya be ma no wa makra obi an chekere ne se adan no amehwe wo ba nti fie asede ne de e yo so wo ba ne de ne wo de yara utwani na ohe amona ne asema odi ye efatini adwuma ye de be ma emra ye de be ma be ma so fa nye adwuma amone be no eye den a oba ye beti mre ne so kakra ama ofi so mu nyina ni se oba de fi adwuma kakra e wo kwa e wo se no so wo ye ka adwuma
asemi de o aja na wo kan tie esa se na mi so be kan tie ya e ka me mi so mampa asema Sylvia ke wo de tumisa wọ́n ṣe tún ẹ̀nà màmí mi máa ń dẹ̀sẹ̀. Ayé tí ẹ fọ́ ẹ̀ fọ́ ọmọ nkàsá. Èsì ẹ̀mẹ̀ ń sẹ́m sọ ọmọ bẹ̀dúrú ha sí yà. Ní ọmọ abọ̀ mi hó kọ̀. Ní ọmọ ayé ọmọ adwene sẹ́ ọmọ ní mẹ̀ nyà adwene. Ọmọ aka ọmọ sọ mi sẹ́m ọmọ ba dada. Ètí mi mùsà nà hwẹ̀ mi máa nkà bi. Ẹ̀yẹ́ dẹ́ na yẹn nyinaa ni ètí fie ni anyam ni yà wọ̀. Na yẹn nyinaa yẹn nso yẹ sọ yẹ nọpa yẹ kọ́ ẹ̀dwuma ni abẹ fie nyim dẹ. Ni ya ba kofa employee nsan aba anaso akɔhyɛ obi ba nsan wo se mea ɛyɛ mea sai me na me kɔtwe eska sɛ be ba bi me fa no wanyam anase me da ma ya dai me da me ne mo nya bi nti mo kyerɛkyerɛ mu ye na saa dem ne mo nya ye nyina ne ana me dɔfo asɛm a me kai we de me mo su a me nya na so ne nko ade ka me ka no pere ye nyina ne yawo na akɔ ya kɔnyam wo se wo ba mea menu nya so nya sele ekwa adwuma ya mia edebent na ya mia we de mon kan die na mente ase me ma mon kan mu yeso sa ade
me ma ne de tendia sa ne ya no mo fa no enso so enti me ma se wo ba no wo no wa ma apala no akofa sa tibia no ana akofa sa o hawo no ana esi because oba no do baby a utime mpuan no bebre enna ye ma ya ni bida ya nkule ni bida efie bi ba ne nyansa wo no
patoto bas we dey tefuo we me dem pa asemo o asema e ma no na me ma na pa aba na wo se wo di wani pen o
na fie bi da ada sema ya ba ya pen
nessa na wo se tokro
pani no bi nye bi da na mo makola die obi a yi bi da
enti ma mpa nessa ma me na papa nyina o brera ho di ma me misa wai ma me misa na wo ko me ka se ene mabawa fo wani enye so mu na so ma dwani asi o e da to wa so so
ya na blame kakra sa me de be ma ofo na so ba tan die sa wono ba wo no ma tan die sa nkla no mo ben ko se bi sa be bi o mu di akoropo e bi o tutu o ma na mo sisi no ni ade ade efia bontia ya na nti ne ko bontia pie mo no eyi fa na ya na wo ko de na ya na wo ko yi na wo de na le bi ne eyi bi na wo de to ne mane na wo sa sa wo ne ablante bi hihye hono na se wo ye yipie no wo yipie no wo yipie oba odo ne na oba wo nso ne na se on pese o di bi besie na wo be yi ya na mo so wo de to boasie bi na wo kyerɛkyerɛ ne me bi ebi so emi ade we ya yi se yo we ni ya mfanto ya we no so ya na o yi ni se na wo pro no na wo de fe no nkakra akro ko fe ni nsen ba wo kusa na be ma wo ne na won kan ta wo de siew wo akwafa o hawo ni atete wo de abeto na ne so maame so bi nso maame ne papa ekura ne bi ni wono masa no akwafa sa ha no ba beto so abrabo so nyansa wo ni mu wono so ba ya mo ade di a kiro ni ba so na si na me ne ampa mo be wura fi wono ma ko ba bo kana na sa no ya ba na sa ya na Tia ya na ko ya na na mo ni so bebe bi nso ho no no fi adwuma ba ne ma wo hia ne ntino wo bebe be sa nkura no so mo nyina da so mo nyina be hia wo bebe ni nyina ya hu ebi ni mu a wo betimi afa akonya bi atena kwan no wo bebe bi a wo akora akora be pia ba ya wo pie ba se wonya wo be sawa no be bia ko ne ni yo ko ya se no so ya na ye ya na ni free man ya na me no so
Jena me party e tie fonye no no nyana me ball ni ma de ne tata de mi pe wo kan me mati we da ka mo ya kan bu ya me so do na me boa ye nyina ya ware ne ya ne o ma ne ya wo na akura so wente ya se no ko se tentena ame a wo so ne se ye nyina ya so le ye ko adwuma so e to ntime fa nhyɛ me nko a eti me do ko mesrawo se de mam so be di kan ka to waso na mpata ye nu fu ko mame na se be ma won so wo asade enna enso so wo asade emfa ho nya bi ma wo ye saa so na wasa won so wunya akwanya bi anase wunya amre ena wo ma ehu se no ma bra wo ekọ se no mututu o ma na mo efa anase ba bia wuni ho no ma o ma na mo ekodu na so wo hu do betumi aya aboa emofa no ma nkoto ensohwe mam so ya fe da wade masem na to me da se so wade masem na to na me se boss be bi bisa se empuani nsan na ya na mo fa no fa ba le timi na no so ma ejawari buba awofo ne nte
etimi na no so e ma ejawari buba if you say na me bi wo hono mo a ya na ne mada na koma so yie nti ofre ni mojani so wode ne babia ebesi yie ni nyina ni so wona de na adwe nyina ni se osobi a wokodi pa se de be ya titi ukra ne mma omume ye bibia di na even kwa mu school fees mu tia ne ade no me mma ni benya baby pesi nti na opene se ono no kwa bonti akwa bre no wo ma me na wo fie ni die e wo se ye chinchina wa se de se obebo nkra ne ban woni marketing bi se fe ti be me bi wo hono na se na ni na ne ba me ka se ni ba pani na ni da no so se da achi no okra bebe si ni ye na nketewa no so enya ba bi agina no okofa bibi sa ba fia ebi wo hono ma akomatie ne ayamhia no kra nti no osimi di na kufuo ne ya odi anyina ebeku wo ma me no efi se akola bi wo hono mo abaya ono asi so na abemo asi so baya na bi so be di ko me di afia kokko na empon itinye man ketekete komodi die bi mu enkankan ne abaya be ma no ntimi ni nkomo enko echi esane a abra ne be kan security achire no tini na ya wo na na ba no edru stage bi a untimi fa bro e ma ninja untimi fa tia ma ninja wo yesa anwa na wo ma no brada ko papa we ni so papa we ni ba kwa mo etini nya ye kasa de eni akro na wo so wa sheda achire ni se ba bia wo ko no wa ko akra na te se wo de ne hihia na wo ka kire wa wa te ni se ni bebe wadu ni ntimi hia wo se dai na mom ye ni sei se ni be ya papa kura na ye mi enu nya na wo ma me no wa anya ni sa na wo de wo yi we ni se mi nyina oba be ye be ma nso be ya Eba won so be mani betimi de I am sharing disappointment crampo etini agina so ne waye dey.
Na saya na empe no. Aya na ejanom do omo re hye enanum se omo betimi ahwamokwa ne so yie.
E wo fie ntitiye mu.
Sa matiwase fa afa na mehu ba bia na ofiri be ne tina wo kase dem fa so bu ani nyinara embo ema man part na mesa ebisa se abofra wo kostu no kohye wo binyi nse anase abaya wo kostu no wenti a wo kwase no obi a hye ne nse aya na ne ho obufo timi sai ne nua ho aka
timi ba na sai aya na enema titi ba na de timi fe bufo ne sai empla na aka na ba na be me ko no ma ya na won hye de ni sa abotre no ni sa abotre no Oba ne saa o de best saa mo fra na maka ni nyina o de best saa mo fra na ka ni nyina no de
asa mo ye na hi
saa na
te ni na nyamo so mo nyina ma nya
kula na o ya ma na kula no o so kula no mo ye na
no bo kwa woni wa dua
dodo na gidi de bia to pa eti di ba na saa ni fie di ba na saa
asamo mesi am afraid omu be kunya nyemhye be kum be mama se me dofo ya be ne de oya dan ya oba wi asinti wan toto enwoma na enwoma enye pe ya se de wose ba na wan kasa na dache obe hye dem na wosu wafo na so do mo nsa batena tena wo sa wona wanti nyanhwe wo fie ama wo fie ejija na aye basa man se obia e pese me se bi se wo se awofo awa kwanya anase ahu behia se abofra awakwe ase wa menka na sa wanya me ana wakoshe obi bani nisi ahu behia se na awofo besa ka mo madne bom se akure na bra bom be wi all those for wakoshe obi bani nisi anase won wa akofra nisi ni bi aba na so yan hwa na man wo ni ansa amwa no e ma won fa na bra wakoshe
eye sa awofo mbeka mu abom na moy ma den say mo bana wenti mo asmo fanyinti na mo be hwe no amana wo na mo aboa no amana to na bra bo se say abofra no nyawo ne be wi ase ye wa sede so wo hwe no matter the mistake bia wa ye de wa ye ma me no ne papa no ma ye tititi aye no mo tititi anyini kra be du say nyina no ebi wo hono kra ne ye ma me ne papa no kra no ebi wo na nya aware e papa no bi ya ma mo nya ye ma me no ewu ade enso so omo no omo tsena ewu a bi kra wudu ama ye nyina ba be du say omo kra ne ye mpo omo branye di e mo me ne se nya aware na mo dia wo enti abofra no wo wo a na bra bon say wo wo a mu awofo no na wo se mu hye ni kran na ne me bia wanya ekofa we nyina ba ye no mu so awofo no be make sure say mo be rectify mistakes bia ma akra no eko we word ekofa sa ade a mo mpe ye de e ba ise ne be ya ebi ensi bie enu ne hia se bi nsi bie mehia na se mo ye na mo jeje na jeje mu a ne akomo de ne ba akomo de wonu amu e bia na nye sa be ma na oni ne wo pe na be sa ye na ade so fe ko be ma ko fro we hunu ne ho so hwe kane ne die chichi na ntwa ho hunu ne ho so hwe bie fro be sa so aba na kaye no ko hunu ne ho so hwe kane a anase we hunu ne ho so hwe na mistake ni ba na onya awofo bi mo twe ne bata ne ho se ye ni se ye nye ni se ya ke bi me bie na we nya awofo na ntwe na mata ne ho na mu ja afra na jeje mu a se ne a we hunu ne ho so hwe sans no hunu ne ho so hwe because onya na ho tete ye no etwe mu kosa iti bi beba nso yesa wo pani na wa wo no so beji wani nguase bi o beji wani nguase bi nti mo fra no mo ho a eni kwan se je o mo jeje mu ye ntwe o mo mata ye mo ne ye ntwe o mo se ne ye no na se kwan wo mse ye do mo to aso a ye nye mo fra no bi se ye ne atete wo no ne maame no ti enim se ne ye bi si atete keto ano na maame na nya ba bi esi no obeje ne ba na ye so ye ko atwe
wa se me ya pete medofo maame Sylvia said obana wo school no akofa nyinsan aba ana say abranti a obi na go to school na no so akɔhyɛ obi ba nim sɛ ɛno nkyerɛ sɛ na brabɔ abɛɛ wiye anaasɛ na brabɔ asɛ wobɛtumi ayɛ biribi foforɔ de aboa wo ba no wobɛtumi ayɛ biribi foforɔ ama wasan gyina ne nan so ebio wobɛtumi ayɛ biribi foforɔ aboa wo ba no ama wasan anya anidasoɔ wɔ abrabɔ mu ebio enti ɛma na hwe ase ayɛ di kan ɛnkɔyɛ sɛ ɛyɛ nkuku a sɛ wɔntumi nsɔre ɛmmɔ bra ebio maame sɛ owia sɛ nkosi ɛkɔba saa afane sɛ yɛ mfonsoɔ twɛn mmɔfra no ɛbɛn wo na nneɛma bi a wɔanyɛ no nti ɛnam so ama akɔfa saa mfonsoɔ no de abɛfie ma akɔyɛ wɔ ha wɔ wɔtumi adamedame na ebi ansa ɛnsi bio ɛhɔ na ebi a sɛ ebi ɛnsan ɛnsi bio efiri sɛ wogya no sɛ akɔfa bɛyɛ bɛnti watu na gyegye mu a wɔbɛsan kɔdu obi akyi wobɛhu a na ne mpɛ nu so ne mpɛ nsa ɛne ne mpɛ nan ɛne ne sɛ wo ankasa no wonam a sɛnea wowɔ antumi atete wo ba no woahwɛ yɛ kwan kɔfa bɛka sɛ wo ankasa no ne suban yɛbɛka yɛsɛ yɛnka ɛma wo nte ɛne yɛbɛka wo ho asɛm so a wɔbɛte na asɛm na ayɛ dada na atwam dadaada yɛbɛka paa na bi a wona wo nte wonam a na obiara ho ne nsa tenatena wo so ɛna wo nso so no wona wokɔ wakɔma w'ani bɛwu aduana wo ti esisi fam san sɛ woantumi anhwɛ wo fie ɛyie nti medɔfo me sɛ wowɔ fie a hunu sɛ mmɔfra no nyine duru baabi a ɛnam saa teenage ne nti na yɛ ana ɔmu nyanya akɔnnɔ bi a akɔnnɔ bɔne bi a sɛ wɔanya obi wɔbɛhwɛ no so na ɔtu ne fo na wɔatwe no abɛta ne ho ama ne ho sɛ ne wia sisi a ɛnam so ma ɔmoyɛ mfonsoɔ bebree nti ɛsrɛ mo sɛ yɛ amoma mo ani ɛni mmɔfra no akyi ɛma yɛ woyɛ adwuma no na wɔhwɛ efie nso ɛka ho na atumi ama asomdwie aba fie mampaat mesan aba wo hɔ bi mepɛ sɛ mebisa sɛ abɔfra wakɔfa nyinsɛn aba no wɔntumi anya hwee bie ma anaa biribi pa bi antumi mfiri ne mu ma bie ma anaa
tumi ba sɛ n'ani dura nko ara deɛ a ɛsɛ wɔ so ɔbɛko akɔ n'anim nko ara deɛ a na awɔ n'akyi no ɔho no ɔhwɛ afra no ma na wɔtena dantene no a anaa ne maame te no a biribi pa bi tumi ba biribi pa bi tumi ba because mahu bebree medi ka akasa ba sɛ mede obi deɛ yɛ mfoto no baayɛ m'anim no ɛno ansa wo maame no wobɛboa akwaraa no na wobɛte wɔ nana no na wayɛ free na adwuma a wapa ama no sɛ school no wɔkɔ a na wasan de ne kɔ sɛ adwuma hyia na ne wɔsua wɔdi nyinsɛn yɛ a ɛmna wɔnyɛm no wɔntumi nkɔ adwuma no bi kɔpem so ɔtoɔ enti wawoɔ na akwaraa no te ne ho no sɛ wobɛtumi asa akɔsua n'adwuma enti biribi pa bi deɛ ɛtumi pie mu ba baasa woyɛ ɔbaa kwatfoɔ deɛ a na sɛ wo ka sɛ ɔgogo ho ansa ma wo ntumi nyɛ hwee a ma wo ntumi nyɛ wo yɛ a ma wo ntumi kɔ sukuu bi mu ma wo ntumi nsua adwuma bi mu ɛneɛ sɛneɛ tie no a saa na tie sɛ bɛyɛ basaa
Mam Sylvia, mepɛ sɛ mebisa wo sɛ abɔfra no mfa no sɛ wanyɛ awu na akwa no aba wiase yi mfa sɛ bi a yɛsɛ ne ho akyi anaa akwa no ate asi ɛyɛ ɔwofoɔ no asɛdeɛ anaasɛ yɛ ɔwofoɔ no nko asɛdeɛ sɛ wo akwa no a wawoɔ na akɔsɛ ɔda bi nti wobɛte asi anaasɛ wo akwa no sɛ wɔ sɛ wosi gyinaeɛ sɛ a mepɛ sɛ meyɛ biribi ɛsan ma me ho biribi
ɛnyɛ awofoɔ no nko asɛdeɛ sɛ wo akɔfra no wobɛsan so atesi anaasɛ wobɛsi gyinaeɛ bi ama wo mefa ne sɛ akora a wahunu sɛ yɛyɛ biribi a wakɔyɛ biribi afa ho nyinsɛn aba deɛ woanyina abɔfra bio woni papa woni mpɔne nti woankasa wobɛtumi atena se atwene sɛ mekɔ m'anim sei a ɛbɛboa me na metuo na mo sei a ɛmmoa me na woankasa wotena se ɛsi gyinaeɛ ho nnia wopɛ sɛ woyɛ abɔfra w'anim nyansa no ebia na wanu ne wo ne ɔyɛ yɛ wontumi nkɔ na wofoɔ anim wobɛtumi apɛpɛni bi ama no akɔ na wofoɔ hɔ sɛ agya ɛna mekɔ wo wieɛ no gyinaeɛ sei ɛna mɛsi pɛ sɛ mede me bra yɛ enti mesrɛ wo momfa me bɔne nkyɛ me na mommoa me na nea mepɛ sɛ meyɛ no metumi yɛ ɛhɔ na awofoɔ no ɛyɛ ɔhyɛ sɛ ɔbɛboa wo na ɛnyɛ sɛ kyinkyini atwan one out by myself. I mean, I will for now said yes or Simon. One of us who sits in a year, and my who send me a bay out, will ban it that shit. And for a year, Sunday I would because if you are maybe so when you know a come and I won't check a crack. Some will get it's who knows who is in Papa Mau. Now we come, if you are now Papa Crow, you say by what you mind. Now who will be an abandoned person? Now he can be out to town and any bounce. I'm a baby. No one say for so and all yet day. Or yeah, no, I yet not drink so baby. And you mean money. Most now, Papa, no one kind of brana. I won't keep you away, you know. A sign so Allen, they helping hand. Until I was so well, Frana, why you're mistaken. When it was a woman, how specify. I rectify that particular mistake. Your mom Sylvia, there was a pan, and then some over, not some better say, I'm also an assent, I know my commerce for me. I'm a more you say. They did this out while we tell most of some of my up to the office I want to was soon be now the ball run. We did this and then also what? So I made the air bread on. I'll swan is. Na mi busua enso carry say Jumedi you to me up on live. Ewo YouTube and I say Facebook. Ewo GOBTV and I say GOB radio. Sabre dey ebre no aso enti ma mi busua me dey mo besia say that's the ne the best share.
After you gone.